All right, what's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday night to you. We hope everybody's doing wonderful. We hope you are having a great start to your week. What's going on? Welcome to Wrestling with Reality. I am John, and of course, joining me as always is Richie Rich. What's up, my man? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, brother, man. We got a crazy storm out here tonight, and it's still hotter than hell, so it's going to feel like it's raining warm piss out here in my neck of the woods.
Well, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So always enjoyable weather in Phoenix, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I got some great news today at my work, though. I'm pretty happy about that.
You want to share the news?
Yeah, man. I'm being promoted to the actual store manager where I work at, so I'm doing really well financially. I'm getting a brand new Toyota Tundra when I move up, and things are great, dude. Things are going really good in my life, so.
My man, I'm so proud of you, dude. That's amazing.
Appreciate it. It's 10 years in the making, brother.
Well deserved, bro.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
it, man.
Well deserved. Hey, tell everybody about your situation with your stuff.
Well, I don't already have enough going on in my life. I guess I just should add some more. In between doing a podcast, having a full-time career, and a part-time business, I just decided to open a new business, and I just launched it this week and obtained my first contracts. So I'm very excited from it. We're going to be dealing with a lot of medical stuff and doing a lot of traveling on my free time on the weekends, if you would call that free time. But we landed our first contract, man. Pretty stoked about it. I've been working on it for a long while, putting the money away, saving up everything, getting it ready, and here we go, man.
I'm so proud of you for pulling the trigger on this thing. I know we got some business ventures that we're talking about doing here in the near future. So we're going to stretch ourselves a little bit more thin, but it's going to be a fun ride. And I'm so proud of you for pulling the trigger on this stuff, man.
I'm proud of all of us and everybody out there, man. We're all doing great. We're all doing great at our regular jobs, our own ventures, our business ventures, man. Life is freaking good. And it's even better because, you know what? Tonight, we got a special guest host. And I got to give him a proper entrance. I felt this was a good entrance theme for him here to kind of invite him in tonight. He won our wrestling trivia contest for the theme songs a few weeks ago. In fact, just kicked the shit out of everybody, you know, let's just be realistic, and then kick the shit out of me as the moderator because he stumped me. Well, he's from Bad Street, USA.
There he is.
He's a real man's man. He's Jude, dude.
The best beard in the fucking business.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, buddy?
Do you approve of Bad Street, USA for an entrance for you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Right. This works.
I'm trying to find, like, when everybody comes on and joins us, like, their own little theme, so it, like, pops into my mind a little bit, and I was like, man's man, we could use the Steve Regal one for Jude. That's just too easy because Jude is a real man's man, but I'm like...
You could have used the Undertaker, you could have did a lot of things.
Dude, Jude's like Michael P.S. Hayes meets William Regal.
Yeah.
Amazing technician, badass mother trucker, all-around cool guy. Probably a ladies' man who could moonwalk the Shabu like Michael Hayes did in those days, too.
Not anymore.
That's awesome.
Nope. Real
no
moonwalking,
dude?
No.
We understand.
I fall and break a hip, I'm screwed.
Well, how's your night going, Jude? How's everything going with you, buddy?
Good. Like we said earlier, it's day 6 of 6 days off. Go back to the grind tomorrow. I'm actually looking forward to it. My best friend Tim actually works with me, so we'll get to see him again, and I get to find out whether I'm having a grandson or a grandbaby or granddaughter on Saturday. So
congratulations!
Pretty exciting. We'll see.
Excited.
I am. I have one grandson now. He's a year and a half. His name's Owen. That little boy is the light of my life, and
nice.
This new one, I'm hoping for healthy. But if it's a girl, it's bonus.
There you go.
So I want a little granddaughter.
You still love them the same. You just want them healthy.
Oh, absolutely. As long as it's healthy, don't matter. My grandson was born premature, and he had some issues and stuff like that. I mean, he was fine, perfectly healthy. Just don't want to go through that again. My daughter was in a pretty dire situation with that, so don't want to do that again.
No. Absolutely not.
We'll be in our thoughts and prayers, man. I hope it all comes out, of course, perfect as it's going to, but I hope you get that little girl too. And I feel bad one day when that little girl starts getting older and having boys come over And Grandpa Jude comes out with a nice Mossberg right out.
Yeah,
for
he's
him.
sitting there cleaning his gun on the table, telling her, you better be home at curfew.
They're going to be like the boys when they pull into Jude's house. His daughter's probably experienced this more than a few times. They probably pulled in and Jude was out there with his fucking AK ready for this guy. And
He's got a
Jude
sign
out
on
there in his beard and dipped. He dipped.
He's got a sign on his front door that says, "We don't call 911."
No, I call 811. You know what number that's for? When you got to dig a hole.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I like it. I like it. Man,
yeah,
awesome.
I tell my son-in-law all the time. We have about 180 acres, 190 acres down in Bedford County. I tell him if you're in a truck with me and you see the sign for Bedford, you better sweat because I'll never find all of you.
There you go.
Shit, I love it, man. Well, it's gonna be a fun show tonight. Let's see what we got in the comments so far. Sean is here. Let me talk to you. Yeah.
What's up, Sean?
Where's Blackjack Laza? Is he gonna pop in? We shall see. What's going on, Rand? What's going on, Sean? Again, hey yo, here we go.
Yes,
Rand HBK versus Brett versus Razor. Save your thoughts, guys. We'll get to that in a minute. Derek's here. Let me talk to you.
They're chopping at the bit to get this topic going, man.
We gotta look. Congrats for you from Rewind, Richie. Thanks, Rewind is here,
dude. Rewind. Hold on, real quick. I gotta say thank you, man. He sent me my first thing of I guess you could call it fan mail. We're all friends, so a buddy of mine sent me this. I'm very happy about it, and y'all should be happy for me. I got Baby You're Hooked.
Oh my God, he got it for you,
dude. This showed up at the house today in the mail. My wife is concerned that I'm a little homosexual, but yeah, I got this in the mail today. So thank you, Rewind.
Wow, what a guy!
Yeah. He got me two, actually. So one will be up for grabs on the show. I might just send it to Jude for free or Jeremy, maybe. You never know.
So is that a sticker?
Yeah, it's a sticker. It's cut out.
You should put it on your truck.
Yeah, dude.
You just got a new truck.
Yeah, man. I love the joke, but I ain't putting it on that front.
Not a true fan. Not a true fan.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to get you an orange paddle.
Dude, I'd have took
That's
it.
The next one.
I'd have took it.
Get him a vibrator and name it Taz like
I wouldn't have took that. That's crossing a little far in that neck of the woods.
You haven't heard his Sting Paint comments yet, Jude. You don't want to hear that one.
Probably not.
Boy, we had some interesting conversations today, I'll tell you.
We did. Rewind says the inmates are running the prison now. Yes, they are. Jude is here. Jason says good things happen to good people. Much love. Thanks, Jason. It's real nice of you to say to everybody, man. Mike, I want to reach the rock. Can I have help? Mike, welcome. Jason said Jude is a badass. He doesn't even have to talk to intimidate the fuck out of you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
If I don't talk, be worried. So
congrats to Jude. He called you Jude. I know he meant Jude though.
Thank you.
He's not doing that to you.
Mike, hello.
Welcome, Mike.
Welcome, Mike.
I'm waiting for my grandson to be born. Due date's November. Sean, congrats, man. Is that your first, Sean?
Man. Awesome.
There you go.
What advice do you have for grandparents to Sean? If Sean is a first-time grandparent, I don't know if he is or not.
Save money.
Save money.
They're expensive.
There we go.
They're expensive.
Rewind has a comment. It says, "You are welcome, Richie. Put it on your truck or your toolbox. Welcome to the FTW, Richie."
I appreciate that. I am a proud member of it, but I can tell you this much: it is not going on my truck.
Sean says, "Put it on a fishing boat." Oh, it's a good idea.
It'll definitely probably go on the back of my computer.
There you go. Okay, interesting. Sean says, "My first." All right, congrats, Sean. That's great, man. Being a grandparent, I hope I don't know that feeling anytime soon.
Yeah, because your daughter's young.
Yeah, 15, going on 16.
Yeah,
my son's 23. So I definitely I would love to have him in 15 years when she's done with medical school and when he is well established in his life. By all means, not now. No. I'm still getting this parenting thing, right?
Right.
I'm still learning that one, so I'm not ready for that next one.
I'm still learning that. My youngest is 18.
Yeah. You gotta love it, right, bro?
Oh yeah.
Gotta love it. So what's the topic tonight, Jude? Fill us in on the topic tonight once again. I know it, of course, but let everybody know what we're doing.
Topic tonight is going to be why are you a wrestler, or what made you a wrestling fan, and why are you still a wrestling fan?
I love it.
Interesting question. Because
I think it encompasses a lot of different eras and in different ways you became, a wrestling fan.
True.
Like for me, it was completely different than probably half the people that are wrestling fans now. That just became wrestling fans or anything like that. Their reasons probably way different than mine.
Sure.
So
how many levels of your wrestling fandom do you think there are where you've loved it, fallen out of love with it, fallen back in love with it? What brought you, we'll get what brought us back in, but how you guys, that's my question to you. How many like different levels of it do you think you've had in your life where you've loved it, fallen in love with it again? What's some of it for you guys?
Many different levels, man. There have been times where I loved wrestling and there have been times where I've hated wrestling. Where it just it draws you in and you get really interested and then it slowly pushes you away. I'm kind of in that right now with it's kind of pushed me away, because it's not what it used to be. And to me right now, it's just losing its interest because there's no storyline right now that just punches you in the face and goes, pay attention.
Right.
There's really nothing right now. It's kind of, they're beating a dead horse now with a lot of different storylines going on. Interest just isn't there. Yeah. Like I didn't even watch Raw last night. Like I talked to Jeremy and Jeremy had said something about the Hell in a Cell was in there. And I told him, I said, I'm currently, kind of working at home here, doing some stuff. Whenever I'm done here, I want to go watch it. I never watched it last night. I think I went to Dirt Sheets, checked it out and was like, okay, cool. Nothing really hit me.
Yeah.
Would you have ever missed a Raw back in the day?
No. I'll tell you what, I can guarantee you I never missed a Raw when it was head to head with WCW. I never missed one. And I was that guy that was flipping back and forth channels, or I would set my
VCR.
VCR. Yeah, I couldn't even remember what it was. VCR.
I'm tracking. I'm only a couple years behind you, Jude.
Yeah. Like I would set my VCR to record one while I watched the other one, and when one was done, I'd watch the other one.
Yep.
So I never missed it. Now I miss it. I'm just like, Dirt Sheets will fill me in on it. I'll get the Cliff Note versions. So it's just different now. Yeah.
You remember the days of the Monday Night Wars where they had, they went head to head, of course, and then Nitro became 3 hours, Raw was 2 hours, and then Raw was getting better than Nitro, of course, like probably about 98-ish, 97-ish, right around there, it was getting better. And it was much more must-see every week. So Nitro started doing the replay, they like afterwards. Do you remember that when they would do the replay later on too?
Way late at night,
yeah. Right. So like you beyond watching wrestling from like 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, excuse me, you usually started the first hour of Nitro maybe, or you were just like, fuck it, if Raw was going to come at it, you'd watch Raw. And then you'd watch another 2-3 hours of it, after watching Nitro replay if you had it, or you taped it. Like you said, you're consuming like 5-6 hours till like 1 o'clock in the morning on a Monday night back then.
Right. Or the thing is fucking Bischoff would come on at 8 o'clock and be like, "This is what's happening on Raw tonight."
Yeah. What a dirty bastard he was.
Well, man. I don't need to watch it now, Yeah. Or you'd be like, "Oh man, I want to see that."
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
Jason said, "I grew up in the '80s, so WWF was the reason Hulk won me over, and I never stopped watching. The NW revived the love I lost. Right now, the only thing keeping me watching is Jey Uso and Dirty Dom. Yes, I never missed a Monday Nitro. I hated Raw. I spiced the cable one night so I could watch WWE versus WCW 2 TVs. There you go.
Nice.
People don't know what that means with splicing them, where you could have a splitter and you could go to multiple televisions, and you had the cheat boxes in your house. You remember that too, right, Jude?
I had one of those.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when my Uncle Joe came over. My dad was downstairs, and I told him that we had one. My dad kind of gave me the nudge, shut up,
Yep.
Sean says, I'm a territory guy. I miss the old school wrestling. Yeah.
I wish I could have been around to experience that, man. It sounds like a golden time for wrestling.
It was dead when I was a kid.
Whenever I picture, the great age of wrestling, it's always the Attitude Era. I'm biased, they're the Monday Night Wars, because that's the era I grew up in. But, when I hear about the territory days and stuff like that, like hearing Trevor Murdoch talk about World Class and him watching it and stuff religiously when we interviewed him, it sounded like a great time for wrestling. You know, like when men were titans and, you know, these, you know, imaginable characters and stuff like that just were your heroes, you know.
Remember when he told the legendary story about the territories with Harley Race and Hogan? I know the story's been told 100 times, you know, throughout Dark Side and other interviews, but Trevor was, you know, Harley was like a father to him, and he told us that story. It's like, we were like, is that really true? He's like, well, according to Carly, absolutely it's true. And I said, you know, me and Richie had asked him, did he really have intentions of like shooting him over taking his territory up? And he goes, absolutely fucking right he did. He had bad intentions in his mind because they took the territories that serious. Like, you didn't roll into Harley's territory unless you had balls. You didn't roll in over to Oklahoma in that one, or Texas with Fritz or Vince's, you know. And then Vince got the idea and just kind of took it over. I wish I would have been around for the territories. I wish I was,
me too,
you know,
enough
to enjoy it. I mean, they were just ending. Like AWA was just ending when I was, you know, starting to watch. And you know, I mean, you had the Global Wrestling. Do you remember that, Jude or Richie? Do you guys remember that? It was on ESPN?
ESPN, yeah. And the other thing was, I remember when ECW was on at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
2 o'clock in the morning on the MSG network.
Yep.
That's how I discovered ECW. I remember I was up late. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I had a television in my room, so I had a 13-inch television or whatever. But you thought you were the fucking bomb for having that TV in your room.
Especially when you had a VCR combo, dude.
I did have a VCR with it too, so you know, you could tape on there, you could do whatever. So I would tape ECW after I found it. I remember I was scrolling through the channels. You know, these are the days, guys, when you had 20 or 30 channels, the most maybe. So I was scrolling through the channels and I see at 2 o'clock and it was like, I think it was like 2:30 in the morning. So it was like halfway through the show. And it's like ECW. I see this guy's fucking fighting in the extreme, and I see these hot babes that are like scantily clad. And I'm like, what is this? ECW. And then they say every Saturday. I came back the next week and then I would tape it every time. Set that thing up. I'd keep the TV going all night just so I could watch ECW.
Nice.
Man,
I actually, you know, living here in Pennsylvania, I've been to a couple of the ECW shows in the original ECW arena. Dude. And that was cool as shit, man.
Oh, I bet.
That was
to be able to say that is a notch on your belt as a wrestling fan. That would be anyone's.
What's your coolest moment at the ECW arena?
Having Sandman's entrance. That hands down. People are like, an entrance. I'm like, we got to look at it though. It's Sandman. It's Enter Sandman Metallica. And the thing is as soon as they start playing Enter Sandman, as soon as you hear that dun dun, the place just erupts.
Yeah,
you know, it was. Now here's the thing: as soon as the bell rang, it was a drizzling shits.
Yeah,
but
man, that 5-minute entrance was the coolest.
Yeah,
right, because he was hammered. I mean, he was hammered.
How could he not be? He was bleeding, smoking cigarettes, and drinking beer on the way to the ring.
Right.
Yeah,
he's like the white version of Vampiro. He doesn't know how to wrestle, but his entrance is cool as shit.
Right. Yeah, like he came out through the crowd. You know, he reeks of liquor and Pall Malls or whatever he was smoking. You know. And he would stumble the whole time. He couldn't walk through the crowd, you know, but like his entrance. And then I actually, Rewind's going to love this one.
Oh boy.
I was there.
Taz?
I was there for Taz versus Tommy Dreamer.
Wow.
Did you lick your hand, Jude, and smack him on the top of the head?
I did not. He was a little intimidating back then.
Oh, I'm sure.
He could actually lift his arms. Yeah, it was cool. Anyway, but it was a gruesome match, man. They both got color in the match.
Nice.
Dreamer was just a mess, you know. But that was back whenever, you know, Dreamer was like John Moxley.
Yeah,
you know, he'd walk to the ring, and before he got in the ring, he'd be like, "Oh, I got to bleed. Hold on, okay."
Yeah.
But Dreamer was a mess. Taz was a mess too. And then I think the Dudleys got involved with that match.
Did you see Akata Hajime?
I did not see Akata Hajime.
Kama Sutra, hey? I don't know.
Kama Sutra May or yeah. No, didn't see anything of that. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool to actually go to a show there because I mean, the crowd would get away with doing just about anything that they wanted, you know.
And it's a dirty, grungy, stinky shithole.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. It reeked of stale beer.
Yeah.
Like it was like
one of those puke from like months before and shit.
You could knock that building down and rebuild
they never
something over. No, I know they won't, but if they ever did, they could knock that building down, build something over it, brand new, and it'd still smell like stale beer and smokes.
You could tell that they never like mopped the floor or cleaned the floor. Like they got most of the garbage up off the floor, but it was just horrible, man. Like the stench was just horrible. Yeah. I mean, there was actually one time we went and on the floor was still blood spots.
Wow.
From the last time they were there.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah, it was so bad.
Nice.
So
ECW, man, what good times. What a great time to be a wrestling fan. Jude, when did you start watching wrestling? Do you remember the year?
I would have to say 82. I was young. You know, I had a, you know, in my neighborhood, all the kids, we were around the same age. There was
wow, Jason.
And, what did he say?
He said it smelled like a 2-week-old orgy at Ron Jeremy's house.
A little worse. A little worse.
Comment of the night so far.
It was like a Diddy party.
Less baby oil though.
Yeah, right. Less baby oil. Yeah.
Oh boy.
But no, like we had a neighborhood where, you know, that's what we all kind of did. You know, we watched wrestling. You know, so we. You know, about 82, I can remember going to my one buddy, Matt Solomon's house to watch WrestleMania where Hogan slammed Andre.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember watching that in his living room. You know, his parents paid for it, pay-per-view. We watched it. It was pretty cool. But like for me, what got me into wrestling, you know, at a young age, stuff like that, was just memories. You know, the moments that came together with that. Another thing is the internet never ruined it.
Yeah,
that's absolutely true.
You know,
you had to watch it so it wasn't spoiled.
I think
my
generation
gotta watch
was
it.
the last one to kind of get to experience that right before AOL and all that stuff hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even then, like you didn't really get spoilers. It was just somebody had watched the show and put it online. So if you didn't watch the show, you would be spoiled by reading the comments and stuff like that. But there was
and they had the newsletters too that Meltzer was sending out. And they had the Prodigy chats that they would do in the chat rooms when they first came out. Yeah. I mean, it was wild. Like when the spoilers were coming out, you know, like that was such new ground because usually they used to do it in the magazines. They'd put the stuff in the magazines and the results, and sometimes would put it in there. But that whole magical internet thing that sure changed the world and the landscape of things.
It did.
Well, you got to look at it though too. Like I'm talking about moments in wrestling. Like what recently happened in any type of year recently where a moment happened where you were like, I'm going to remember that forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could. Some people now. There's people out there right now. They'll go, well, when Cody beat Roman Reigns.
Yeah, sure. Tell me that in 5 years. Tell me what happened in that match. Tell me, you know, bullshit.
No one will remember. You know, but I remember Hogan slamming Andre.
Jason said he was there at the Silverdome for WrestleMania 3 live. He'll never forget. At the time, it was the largest indoor crowd in history. Can you imagine being in the Silverdome for that? Jeez.
I couldn't, man. I wish I was.
Superdome, maybe, yes. God, I'm jealous, Jason, man. That to me is the pinnacle of wrestling moments. You know, when you see that one.
That's on every wrestling video.
Yep.
Whenever
and it will be for till the end of time.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely. And here's the thing, even Hogan says that was not the first time he slammed Andre.
Oh, yeah. They showed a bunch of it.
He's like, I slammed Andre probably 100 times before that.
Yep,
you know, just that was the first time it was on TV.
Yeah.
You know,
that's just like the ladder match with HBK and Razor. I mean, they had a couple of them, you know, and he even said that the other ones that they didn't televise were better than the one that they televised.
They said that the one that they did televise was bad.
Yeah.
Like they didn't like that match, you know, but it was just this big iconic match. Right. But like that's just it. Like the moments are big for me as a wrestling fan. That's what kept me interested in it. And now just okay, you know, Cody beat Roman Reigns. Cool.
We knew it was coming.
Right. You knew it was coming. And here's the thing, it's the internet again.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of figured that was what's going to happen. The internet is what changed that match.
Right.
You know, everybody complained that it was going to be Rock and Roman Reigns. That changed that match.
Yeah.
That wasn't going to be Cody Rhodes' match. That was going to be The Rock's match. You know, so
you know that wrestling's in a hard spot when a guy, you know, when The Rock comes back, he hasn't been there in forever, and he comes back and he literally takes over the whole show and makes the top guys look like jabronis. You know,
I think that hurt WWE during that.
There's a
I
problem
think
with
if they
that.
would have ran with that match of Roman Reigns versus The Rock, it would not have been. I personally don't believe it would have been the biggest WrestleMania ever.
Yeah.
I don't. I think that the fans shit on it.
Yeah.
And had they ran with it, the fans wouldn't have supported it.
No.
Right now the product is controlled by the fans.
It is.
Not by the actual company. The fans
Right.
run everything. So, and they keep an ear to that. Like, you guys talk about, I don't know why Sami Zayn's such a big time wrestler and, a big thing. It's because of the crowd.
It's because
The crowd absolutely loves him because they relate to him. He doesn't look like a wrestler. He looks like Joe Schmo that just came. He looks like Santino Marella.
He looks like a taxi driver.
Right. He looks like that guy that only does this on the weekends.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the crowd loves him.
Yeah.
That's why he's so over.
Yeah. Sometimes people can just relate to people, and they see for whatever reason it is, they just relate to that person, and the crowd just soaks them up and enjoys it. Boy, Derek was here for some good moments too. Rock versus Cena, once in a lifetime. Taker losing the streak to Brock. Boy,
jeez,
a couple of good moments right there.
That's a sore subject with me. Taker should have never lost a streak.
He should have never lost the streak. He should have never lost it. If he was to lose it, it should have been to Bray Wyatt.
Here's my thing. What did Brock gain from it?
Nothing.
Zero.
What did Roman Reigns gain from it?
Zero.
Nothing.
Bray Wyatt would have gained so much from that.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt would have skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Would have skyrocketed if he beat The Undertaker. But he should have never lost a streak because the two losses that he has did nothing for the person that beat him.
And now they don't even count one of them.
No, they don't count the one with Brock. No.
So it makes it look totally ridiculous now.
Yeah. Yep.
Some of the logic of the wonderful things that they've done in the WWE. What's going on? Blackjack Laza is here. Good day. Jason makes a good point. We haven't had Epic Mania in a long time. The 2-night bullshit has killed Mania.
Dude, I agree with that too. I've been saying that. They should never have made Mania they shouldn't make any pay-per-view 2 nights. It's ridiculous.
No. And like SummerSlam next year is going to be 2 nights in Jersey. Should not be 2 nights.
No.
I'm going to say this. I really liked WrestleMania this year. I was really into it. I was very invested into it this year. And I'm not saying it was, to me, not every match was the greatest match in the world on every card. But I think it had some of the best WrestleMania moments of all time this year. And I think
time?
Yeah, I really do, man. I think they really did a lot of good stuff. I think that Cody and Roman memory and that whole thing that they did.
That is just...
Well, I think that whole thing they did at the end with bringing all those different people into the storyline at the end, just the whole way that they did it, presented it to him with the Bloodline Rules match and the monster moment it finally was. I'm not saying he's going to go down and be the greatest champion of all time, but it's going to be a big memorable moment.
You think that Mania beat the Mania with Rock versus Hogan and,
I think there was some things up there that had things that could compete with any of them. I thought it was a great WrestleMania this year.
I'll give it to you like this. I think it was definitely one of the greatest WrestleManias that they've put on in the past 10 years, for sure. For sure. But to say it's one of the greatest of all time, there's no way in hell I could say
thought it was. I loved it, man. I thought it was a great delivery that they did this year on it. I thought they outperformed even what I thought they could do on it. And I think they did a good job, too, on it. I think it's one of the really good ones this year because they set up something right from it, again, to another year-long storyline that's going to run them to the next year. So they're really putting things together well with this, I think. I'm sure there's things along the way where they have to change it up and around, but there were some great moments this last year, man. They had a really big following to it and everything that was going into it. I think people will remember this one for a long time.
I think the only problem with WrestleMania this year was it was very predictable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the match results were very predictable.
Yeah.
From a number standpoint, gate standpoint, stuff like that, buy rate standpoint, best there ever was that way. I got to be with Richie on this one. No, I disagree. I don't think it was the best of all time. I think it best in the past 10 years.
Yeah, possibly. That's what Derek said. Best in the last decade.
Yeah, possibly best there. I would not put it up there with the best ever.
I loved it.
You had the, like Rich said, Rock and Hogan was phenomenal. You've had, other WrestleManias where it was, The Rock and Stone Cold.
Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker.
Undertaker, right? Triple H versus The Undertaker too.
Triple H versus
that match was phenomenal.
WrestleMania 20 was an incredible Mania.
That's my favorite Mania.
That's my favorite Mania
is my favorite Mania.
Yeah.
So
it was the Goldberg and Lesnar one, right?
Yeah,
right.
And go figure, that was the worst match on the card.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that tells you something,
Derek's going with WrestleMania 17 for his favorite.
That's a good one. That's a real good one. Was that the one where Triple H beat Jericho when he came back?
That was Safeco Field. Okay. I think 17 was Safeco Field, Seattle, if I remember. Okay. Was that right, Derek? You were there, not me. I think 17 was Safeco Field, Seattle.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. This would be a fun one to discuss when we come to WrestleMania season. If we go back and actually think about all the WrestleManias, we go back to a little, look into some of them through the years, and we might surprise ourselves which ones may be our favorite too.
Yeah, for sure.
Could be a good topic for sure. I mean, WrestleMania is kind of like the culmination of everything, of course, for wrestling, but it's nice to see that other places are trying to branch out with it in their own way. And Rewind makes a good point here too. He says, if you were 7 years old and you watched Cody beat Roman, you'll remember that shit forever. Just like when I was a kid and I watched Shawn beat Brett for the title, True. Those moments, of course, man, we're going to remember certain things as well. Shawn's lost interest in today. Not one storyline I find interesting.
That's kind of why I'm saying that's kind of what we're saying though, is all the wrestling fans that are hardcore wrestling fans that watched it religiously, that bought the merch, that fucking went to all the fucking events and all that shit, listen to what we're all saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't watch it religiously anymore. Yeah, there's nothing interesting anymore. That's a problem. That's a real big problem.
17 was Rockin' Austin in Texas, by the way. Thank you very much, Derek. Appreciate that, buddy.
And it's a problem because, I've been a wrestling fan. John, you too. Richie, for most parts, you as well. We were there for the Attitude Era. We were there for all the different eras, the Monday Night Wars. We were there whenever wrestling was big for a wrestling fan.
Sure.
Now I think the thing that hurts the product is AEW is not a competition for WWE. It is not. Stop saying it. It never will be either.
Nobody will be.
Nobody will be. No.
It had traction in the beginning. I'll give them their fair shake. But
to be called competition, you got to be in the ballpark.
They had the traction in the beginning where it looked like it was going to be at least something, at least the best opportunity for competition in the past. However fucking long, probably since WCW's been out of business. They had the talent, they had the backing, financially and things like that. So it looked like it was going to be something. Then when Cody Rhodes left, that was the vision. That was the McMahon. That was the person who had the vision of the company where it was supposed to go. And when that went away, the wheels fell off.
We started in a mall. We ended at a beach bar. WCW. Yeah, pretty ironic right there, and actually true. Nitro starts in a mall and ends in a beach bar. AEW is RC. They will never be Pepsi. WWE will always be Coca-Cola. Sean says AEW is a retirement wrestling company for former WWE talent. What company did they used to say that about before?
WCW.
WCW, yeah.
What happened to them?
They went under.
Amen.
But you got to look at it this way, though, too. WCW lost their paycheck or their checkbook. They lost their checkbook.
They still had traction.
They did, but they didn't have the money.
Yep. And when you don't have the money and you don't have the TV deal, you're a dead product at that point in time. They didn't have streaming networks.
WCW would have been geniuses back in the day had they brought on Paul Heyman instead of Vince Russo. I'll stand by that to the day I die. That would have fixed WCW.
But it never would have happened because Bischoff and Heyman were they were both having who had a bigger dick syndrome between those two at that time too.
I'm not saying bring Bischoff back. I'm saying just if they
what I'm saying is, but Bischoff was running WCW, so for him to bring him in at that point, I know it was up and down. I know the story behind it, but I don't think they could have got along at that time. If he was going to be in power in any way, but I don't think anybody could have fixed them at the end. It was too disorderly. They didn't want him around. You know.
And I really don't think you have anybody that could fix AEW right now that would willingly go. That would willingly go there to do it because the talent right now runs that company.
It does.
Tony Khan is just a guy who pays them.
Yeah.
The talent run the company. And you got guys like, the Young Bucks who are legends in their own mind.
Yeah.
and will never be the legends that they really
No,
are.
good God, no.
But you got to look at AEW is they have all this talent, so much talent in AEW, spent so much money for all this talent in AEW. What are they doing with it?
Nothing.
Where's MJF been?
Yeah, they're literally killing his career, in my opinion.
Yep. And here's the thing. I think MJF only re-signed with them because he knew he was going to get a lot of money for not a lot of work.
He wants to be the big fish in the small pond.
Right. Look how Adam Cole was. Adam Cole got a payday whenever he went over to AEW. Here's my thing, though. With AEW throwing on all this injury time, Adam Cole will never leave.
No.
He's never going to be able to leave AEW.
What a fucking petty move that was with Phoenix, what they did to him. I know WWE's done it too. I know they've done it before. I'm not saying they haven't for anybody that wants to contest this. But let's be realistic. They always want to say they're WWE different and that they're going to do things better. They're going to unionize. They're going to give them benefits. Where's the benefits and the health benefits for all these people? He said they were going to give. He's going to give them health benefits. The women are going to get paid the same as the men. Everybody's going to get all this incentive.
Well, there is one woman that's getting paid like that over there. We can all say that.
Yes, Mercedes Moné, the CEO, well worth whatever $5-10 million a year they're paying for that shit. But he prided himself on the first few years on we're not WWE, we're going to take care of people, we're not going to do that, we're not going to hold people hostage. And then what you do to Phoenix, you held him hostage. And it's not like Phoenix was a troublemaker there. The guy got hurt over and over because he's doing crazy shit to make your company look good.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
What a dick move, man.
Here's the thing. They'll get him out of that.
Oh, they'll find a way, I'm sure.
They'll fight that in court, or they'll do something with that, and WWE will back it and get him out of there.
This wrestling. I enjoy the work of Cody. It reminds me of Flair. He's just a PC version. Myself, regarding Cody, is a nickname I have for him is Emo Flair. I respect him.
Emo Flair.
He's very talented. Jason makes a good point here. He says, did you guys see where they said they did 300 live shows in 2023? They're doing 250 this year, and then they're scaling back to 200 for 2025. They're eliminating the smaller towns. The live show, house show business is a dead market now. They're not making money on that,
I just miss it when I was a kid. Those were cool to still attend and stuff, and that was where you really got a chance to get autograph signings and stuff like that, was at the house shows. So
with the rising costs, guys, like for them to do that, is there any way a house show can be financially successful in these smaller areas?
Because they're not even half packed.
Yeah.
But a house show, whenever I was 5 years old, is where I met Andre the Giant.
Right, exactly. That's my point. So I feel bad for the kids and the fans today that won't get to have those experiences, because I had a lot of those too.
You know what my first house show main event was, and I still remember it to this day. It was the coolest thing because I fell in love with wrestling. Everybody knows who's watched the show for years, Hulk Hogan. I saw a Hulk Hogan match. My dad had showed me an old, when he won the title against Iron Sheik, and then I started watching it, got hooked. Mega Powers, that's what brought me in, made me fall in love with it. But when I really, really, really fell in love with it was when I saw it live. It was after WrestleMania 5. And I got to see Macho Man and Hulk Hogan in the steel cage, the blue steel cage between those two.
Wow.
In the main event. It was the house show loop they would do after the, WrestleMania that year. It was the coolest thing in the world as a kid. I'll never forget that all these years later. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast, lunch, dinner half the time. But I can remember that moment from when I was a 8-year-old kid, whatever I was. And
I wish...
Man,
I wish that they would do an old school pay-per-view.
Yeah.
To where they would have a steel cage. It was the blue steel cage.
Yeah.
To where they
would have a retro wrestling night.
Yeah. I think that would be awesome. And it's just me. I'm a nostalgia guy. I think that would be just an awesome event.
Yeah.
Just to watch.
Sure.
Derek says AEW tacked injury time on Phoenix to stop it from going to WWE. So WWE trademarks the yes chant to screw the AEW world champ. Checkmate, Tony. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. You got to love it. Tit for tat, right? I don't think
tit for tat.
I don't think you want to play with them in that ball game. I think they know the wrestling scope a little bit better than everybody else. They've I know TKO's new to it, but they got a lot of vets there.
Yeah.
So
that's why that's one of the reasons with Shane. Like if Shane goes AEW, I think WWE is going to put the handcuffs on him.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree because Shane's used to being able to do whatever he wants. Is somebody going to really let him do what he wants there?
Right.
Oh,
I don't know.
No.
Well, is Tony really going to fucking have any balls to say no to him, though? Tony would fanboy out for him. He would.
To Shane?
Yeah, when they met.
Oh
he fanboyed out. Like, so
Yeah, he'll roll the red carpet out and let him do whatever he wants.
Tony probably
He'll get Monet money.
Yeah, Tony probably came into the room playing, the Shane's music. Here comes the money.
Yeah,
He tries to do a little foot shuffle. Yeah,
yeah. He starts coming out wearing Jordans and shit.
What the hell do you think? Let's be real, okay? I know we're going off the topic here, but this is a good question. What the hell do you think? Because they showed the picture of those two meeting, Mercedes leaked it or whatever. What the hell do you think Shane McMahon thought when he met Tony Khan, the founder of AEW Wrestling, for the first time? Shane McMahon, who's been around the wrestling business since he was a baby, whose dad is the most powerful man in the history of it, the most polarizing, controversial figure, and he goes to meet Tony King Khan in an airport. What do you think, Jude? I want to ask you first. What do you think he thought?
I think he heard his ring entrance music come on when it went cha-ching.
Yeah.
He saw a paycheck. He saw a guy that I honest to God, think Shane could walk into that company, tell Tony Khan, hey, I'm going to come to your company and I'm going to save it. But I'm going to save it for this many zeros and this many commas. And he knows Tony Khan will go,
there you go.
Okay, here you go. And Shane will go, you're stupid.
Yeah.
Because Tony Khan is he's grasping at straws right now. And he's, like I like to say, he's throwing shit against a window to see if it'll stick. He signed all these big names, threw all this money out, and none of it has worked. None of it has worked. Like, he went out and he got Will Ospreay. Then he went out and he got Mercedes Moné. And now he's gone out and got, all these other big name wrestlers that he
just landed MVP, bro.
Yeah,
Ooh,
MVP and Bobby Lashley
and
Shelton Benjamin. Can't wait to see that. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But here's the thing. If you say that they're not going to work, you're a racist.
Yep.
Anyway, you're not.
Have you seen that narrative? That's a good actually thing to say. There's this narrative I've seen in like some of the wrestling groups or on Twitter or whatever it is. They're saying Triple H is racist, and there's these accounts that are
they're calling him Triple K.
Yeah.
It's saying because they're saying that there's the least amount of African American wrestlers being featured right now, and
come on, man.
What a joke.
I mean, let's be realistic.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah. Let's be realistic. The biggest storyline over the last 5 fucking years has revolved around the bloodline.
They're Samoan.
Yeah,
they're not African American.
I was gonna say they are a technical minority in this country.
Mm-hmm.
They have pushed. It's been the hottest storyline in wrestling in ages, and it's made them buku bucks. They have pushed it to the moon. It made Roman Reigns a fucking legend that will be just swimming in his money for the rest of his life. And then when he goes to Hollywood, he's gonna have a Hollywood role here soon. All these other guys, everybody that's involved in it. You got great performers all over that show on NXT that's making hundreds of thousands of dollars, some of them millions.
Given guys chance after chance after chance. Bobby Lashley's been given chance after chance after chance
Absolutely.
to get over.
Kofi Kingston got the belt, got Kofi Mania,
Trick Williams.
Trick Williams. The focal point over there.
Nobody cares about the skin color. They care about if you can get over it.
Seriously.
It's like, get over yourself. The shit doesn't. There's not a Ku Klux Klan member behind every fucking bush. Like,
nope.
There's an old line I heard from somebody. You hear this from a lot of people when they talk about, like people who, always think somebody's coming after them and they won't do business with them, because of the racial thing and stuff like that. And I've heard the old promoters would always say this all the time, especially when they had the more race. I'm not saying there's not racism now. There's plenty of it still, of course, but the most racist eras where segregation was just stopping, and it was still somewhat going on. The old promoters, you'd hear them say, I don't look at color. I look at green. That's what I want. If they're going to draw me money,
I'm looking for is green.
Yeah.
Green.
People would knock Bill Watts in the territories and say Bill was a racist, and probably was in some way. Look, Bill pushed Junkyard Dog more than anybody and made him into a mainstream biggest act in almost the United States at that point in time.
People don't understand. People don't understand how big the Junkyard Dog was.
Oh my God, he was a god in wrestling. Everybody knew him, the Junkyard Dog. You go ask
stepping out of the wrestling limelight real quick, for this, but Morgan Freeman was one of the coolest people I've ever heard go on CNN because he was on the Don Lemon show, and Don Lemon asked, he's like, how do you feel about Black History Month? And Morgan Freeman's like, why would I delegate my history, which is American history, to 1 month? Do you want a white history month? Do you want a Jew month? No, it's all of our history. He goes, so, everybody making this racism stuff what it is, he's like, just stop talking about it. That's how you stop racism. You quit talking about it. It's the truth.
I've watched that 100 times. He's right.
He's right.
He's right.
Ron Simmons, WCW, great example right there, Sean. Sean's pulling back some great ones here tonight.
Yeah.
You guys are all popping in great. I'm reading all your comments, guys. I just can't put them all up and get to every single one, but I'm putting them up and I'm reading every single thing that you're putting. I promise you.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns was the longest reigning champ in the current era. Sounds racist towards Blackpool. Come on. It's like these guys got pushed to the moon. Don't say that about Triple H, man. He's not. Who's ever heard Triple H, was a racist back in the day, calling people, all these awful names.
How many
they did some distasteful
have been
things.
black that he's gotten over,
I saw on one website where they said that he was a Nazi because of Gunther.
Oh God.
Because of Gunther. I'm like, you're reaching now, man. You're reaching.
Come on.
Yeah, it's
Can we just stop?
Seriously.
Right. Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy the product. And what about, let me ask this now. Let's go back. Lawrence, I'll put out a link later. We might bring people on tonight doing a little overtime, so I'll put up a link at the end potentially if we got enough time. So just hold tight till later on in the show, and I'll probably throw a link out for a little bit. But Richie, let's go back to this topic that you'd pick, because we're talking about so many great things in wrestling and eras and things like that. When did you fall in love with it? Because you're way younger than Jude and I and a lot of us here. So when did you fall in love with it? What brought you into it? Made you
So Scott Hall was the wrestler that got me into wrestling, that made me fall in love with it. Scott Hall, the Razor Ramon, the gimmick of him when he first jumped ship over to WCW. He came out in the denim coat. He had the squiggly hairline that came down, the toothpick, the whole gimmick, man. The guy was a badass. He was cool. Everybody wanted to be him. The chicks wanted him. That's the vibe that I got off of Scott Hall when I very first saw him. And, it sucked me into wrestling, man. I was polarized by his character and how he got into it, Scott Hall was it, man. When I saw him jump that barricade and come on, and, it looked like a real war going on between WCW and WWF. I'll tell you what, man, there was no better entertainment that I watched as a kid than that. And eventually the NWO forming and all those things, that's what took me into this 30, well, I guess it's like 28 years technically I've been watching wrestling, but 28-year-long journey of something that I've been more passionate about and love more than anything on this earth. There's been times in my life where like you said earlier, where I've fallen out with it, but I've always come back to it. It's always been the one constant in my life. Through my drug addiction and substance abuse, I always turn back to wrestling, and it comforted me, helped me through those things. That's why I still stay in love with it, because it's gotten me through a lot of hard times in my life too. When I was in the military, it was the only thing that made me feel like I was at home, was popping on Raw or popping on SmackDown. So that's what wrestling is to me, man. It's a constant in my life, and it's definitely a comfort.
Let me ask you this. Scott Hall jumping the barricade, one of the biggest moments that really made you fall in love with it. Okay. What was Scott Hall wearing when he jumped that barricade that day?
The denim outfit. He was wearing the blue jacket with the blue jeans, the combat boots. He had the toothpick, it was badass, dude.
That right there shows you it was a moment that grabbed you in time when you can remember the silly outfit that the guy was wearing coming out in that denim thing. And you're like, holy shit, like that drew me right back in that moment.
Loved it.
That's how I felt with wrestling. I like the new gen. Some people didn't like new gen. I liked it a little bit. I know it was corny, but I still always enjoyed Superstars and kind of the corny stuff. But when Scott Hall jumped that barricade and the NWO started running just over everybody in WCW, I remember as a kid, that's what sucked me right in the most.
People always thank Hulk Hogan for all that shit. Scott Hall doesn't get near the amount of credit that he deserves for that.
And Nash.
He was the guy that jumped ship first.
Yeah.
He's the guy that went over the first, and got the guaranteed contracts. He got all this money for these wrestlers and stuff. They should all be thanking Scott Hall.
Here's my thing.
Kevin Nash with him.
With Scott Hall. Scott Hall didn't know whether or not he was creating career suicide or if it was going to blow up the way it did.
Absolutely.
Because at that point in time, there was no mention of the NWO.
No.
You know, they had
know
a
what he was getting
concept together,
into.
but he didn't know that. Right.
No.
Kevin Nash didn't know that. They didn't know that Hogan was the third man until the actual match.
Right.
They were going to throw Sting in there, and then they went, no, don't. We have a different direction. And that's whenever Hogan went over to Bischoff during the pay-per-view and went, hey, I'm your third guy. You know, and it went from there, man. Yeah, you're right, though. Scott Hall was the guy that, you know, first jumped ship, that he didn't know how it was going to go.
Right.
All he knew was they're throwing a lot of money at me.
Yeah. A big gamble.
Okay. Even as a kid, even as a child at that time, growing up in the 90s and stuff, seeing Scott Hall like that, it was you knew even as a child that this was something special. It was a special moment, and Scott Hall had something that nobody else had. You know, it was that it factor.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, too, you got to look at it, you know, with, you know, why you became a wrestling fan or anything like that.
Yeah.
It gives you those moments where you're like, man, I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
You know, it gives you that
Stone Cold with your boss, you know,
right. You're living vicariously through these characters.
Right.
You know, and you're like, man, I wish I could go up and just, you know, drop my boss and pour a beer on him.
Throw
I wish I could do this.
Face. Yeah.
Right. So you're living vicariously through them. So that kind of draws you in as well. You know, because you're like, man, wait till you see what Stone Cold does next week to his boss.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Holds a toy gun to his head and makes him piss his pants.
Makes him piss his pants. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Great moments.
Derek's got a good one here. He says, I fell in love with wrestling in 1990 when I was 3, watching Hulk versus Warrior at WrestleMania 6. My love of wrestling stayed for 33 years in counting because it was my release from all the world's problems. That's just such a great story. I know you guys mentioned that too earlier. It's like, especially for us, we grew up watching it as kids. And like Derek said, you know, everybody's got problems that they go through at a certain point. You know, getting through life is tough enough. That's why we do this show. We have fun.
Yeah,
it's a Tuesday night release for everybody. We want everybody to have a good time.
The other part of why I love wrestling. Look at this community.
Yeah,
you know?
And you can get that release when you know you might have had a shitty day at work today, and then you get a chance to come and just share stories with some buddies and talk like we're doing now. Or you get to go back and watch that show. I remember when I was 14, and 1996, the NWO creation. I fell in love with WCW, and I was always a WCW guy. 1996 as a kid was the worst year of my life. My parents had gotten divorced. My mom had left. It was really difficult. Every week watching Nitro and watching Raw and those crazy storylines and the laughs that you get.
It was your escape.
It was the escape, you know, as a kid to get through those moments, man. And that's why, like, a lot of people say, why do you love Eric Bischoff so much? I think he's hilarious and creative. One of the things was he gave me such rich memories of my childhood and got, you know, the storylines that him and his team put out made my life better when I had some tough moments in it, man. And I'll always love that guy for that. And that's why
it's hard to hate Vince McMahon. You know, I feel the same
way. I can't hate him, even though he did awful things.
Yeah.
What he did for my life, like, come on, man.
The thing is, too, like with being a fan for as long as we have, I watched this stuff live.
Yeah.
You know, you're seeing it on a lot of people see it on replays, you know, like Hogan slamming Andre. I watched that as it happened.
Yeah.
Hogan and Warrior. I watched that live. You know, so like the big moments that they play on all these, you know, these videos and everything like that.
It's like being there for Babe Ruth when he pointed at the fence and, you know, hit the home run. That's the same thing, you know.
Like I was there for that, you know, with Taker throwing Mankind off the cage. I was actually there.
You were there for that.
I watched that happen. You know, I'll never forget these moments.
Right.
You know, it was a golden age of wrestling. We were there for it. You know, it makes us sound old, but man, I got to see it. You know,
I wouldn't trade it for the world, though. I wouldn't.
No, nope.
Good memories everybody's sharing here, too. So I'm just kind of putting them all up from things. I'll read one from Rand. The new generation and Scott Hall's jump over to WCW from WWE. The rise of the game, but Lex Luger jumping ship because he was walking around the mall after the show.
Didn't have the impact that Hall did, you know?
No, he didn't have the impact, but let me tell you something, bro. In 1995, Lex Luger was over, man. The year before, you know, they're doing the Lex Express for a year, you know, 2 years before, and then he's still a prominent figure on WrestleMania that year in the in one of the main events, you know, that year. So Lex was doing his stuff. He was a big name, and when he showed up to the Mall of America in 95, man, it was a no shit moment on that first Nitro to see.
I remember that goofy ass shirt he was wearing.
The white shirt. And he had the black pants and the cowboy boots. Yeah. The collar all the way up to here. Like,
it looked like Theo Vaughn with blonde hair.
Yeah. And the background was Hulk Hogan's Pastamania.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that a lot of people don't remember is Rick Rude showed up on Raw and Nitro in the same night.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he showed up on ECW in the same week of
Yeah,
that too.
Same week. Yeah.
The only guy
yeah.
to do it.
ECW, WCW, WWF in the same week.
Yep.
Rick Rude's impressive in my
Yeah,
book
he
always.
is.
So
He is.
And then Raw and Nitro in the same night.
Yeah.
Woo.
On the other side of the country.
Right.
He was
and
there,
his
you
friends didn't know about it. His,
No.
both sets of friends didn't know he was on either show.
Nope.
if I have a bad day or I get bored, I go back and I watch old Raw clips of
Yep.
97, 98, 99. Absolutely. But
Yeah.
that's what the fun of it is. That's why I love technology. Now, we can do stuff like what we're doing right now, where
Yes.
you got guys on all different sides of the world. Literally, we have a guy from Australia
Nova
in here.
Scotia,
Yeah, Nova Scotia. You got people from all around the world, man. People are checking us out. This is what the great part of technology is. We can do stuff like that. We can anything we want to go back and watch from the old times, we can go back and check out now.
Shit,
Imagine
even
if
get
we
to
were
talk to
kids.
our heroes, man. We do Ricardo Rodriguez, Trevor Murdoch, all these different wrestlers and stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, because Jude, you did a podcast for a long time too, right?
Yeah, we did it was just a general thing called Beers
Did you ever
and
do
Bros.
interviews or anything like that?
So we did with like local people.
Okay.
We never did anything national or anything like that.
Yeah.
We just did a lot of local people. So
Okay.
yeah.
So when we started this show, me and my he's one of my best friends still to this day. Just didn't have the time. Jeff, I just saw him a few weeks ago. He was my first original co-host. When we started it, I think Rewind asked me this last week. He said, "What made you want to start a podcast?" We just loved wrestling and we loved talking about old wrestling and things. And I said, wouldn't it be cool, to go like interview your heroes and talk to some of these people from these parts of your life and people that meant something to you, whether it's new, old, or whatever. He's like, yeah. We had this great idea to start a wrestling podcast, Wrestling with Reality, and it was hard to get it going off the ground, of course, and it's hard to get interviews. But when I go back and I look at it, one day I got to find the old archives, just for fun, and go back and see where, what we were doing and talking about on them and how different it is. But man, we must have interviewed 50 or 60 wrestlers through the years that we've had on the show, from, world champions in the UFC, mainstream people in AEW, you name it, MMA fighters, whatever it is. We got to do it through wrestling in this show. And we got to talk to some of our heroes through the years and get to hear their stories. Or we got to sit for a few minutes and have some laughs with the legend or whatever it might be, even if we're not having those on. But we don't do a lot of interviews anymore. No. We get to talk wrestling with people and have a good time and share memories like we're doing right now.
Amazing.
That's the best part of it and why I love wrestling, the community, the people.
For sure.
Right. Because we all have different memories.
Right. But it's that common ground.
Yeah.
It's like we all share in this and we all have our different feelings and our different experiences and we all come together and share it. That's the best thing that you can do.
100%.
Sean's got a good one here. He says, my first wrestling memory was seeing a battle royal. The winner got a $500 prize money. The money was on a pole. Ray Candy was the winner. Remembers that name from 1974. Wow. Ray Candy. He still remembers it. Isn't that amazing?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Still remembers it to this day. I've never heard of Ray Candy, but that moment was in Sean's life. And since 1974, he still remembers that moment.
That's awesome.
Pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Road Dogg in WCW. I don't remember him in WCW, right?
I don't either.
I don't remember Road Dogg over there.
I remember him in TNA.
I remember
TNA.
That was the
Kid Mafia.
That was the drizzling shits of his career.
Yeah.
Bad times, yeah.
I mean, they were strung out on drugs then.
And they admitted too that they made some very poor choices at that juncture of their career. What about a moment you said, Jude, earlier when you were describing the title? The second part of it was what made you fall back in love with it at times, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was a time that made you, or why are you still a fan of it? Why did you fall back in love with it at certain points in time?
So I can't pick just like one moment. I think it was I missed it. Like I got out of it, and just stopped watching it. Life happens, stuff like that, And then I think it was The Fiend.
Mm-hmm.
When The Fiend came out.
Yep.
That draw my interest again.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm an Undertaker fan. You guys know that. I love The Undertaker. I've met him. I've been to his one-man show. Love The Undertaker. The Fiend gives me that same feeling.
Yep.
Of The Undertaker. So it piqued my interest. And I heard about it and I was like, I gotta watch this. And Bray Wyatt was a genius beyond his time.
Yes, he was.
His mind for the business and how to do a character you know, it just
I've always
blew
said
me
he's
away.
the Undertaker and Mick Foley mixed. You know.
Yes, absolutely. That brought me back. And then Bray Wyatt kept me there.
Yep.
Because it was just watching his interviews, watching the Firefly Funhouse, watching what he did with his character. And then I'll tell you what, I kind of, whenever they cut him and took him out, I kind of lost interest again.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And
it's
then he
funny
brought
you
me
say
back.
that. Me and John did the same thing. We had a similar moment when they did the Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins and The Fiend.
In the red cage.
And they had
Hated
Seth
it.
go over. And me and John literally right then and there that's pretty much when we stopped watching wrestling religiously, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins
we had enough.
Never went over in that match.
Yeah.
And they should have never did that red cage.
Yeah.
You know.
That was that straw breaking the camel's back type of moment, though, for us. We were like, this is fucking stupid. This is bad.
Yeah.
You know? Like, and then they insulted our intelligence for years, and they had to find a way to try to hook people back in.
Right.
Because that's the interesting part of wrestling. Like, when you go back and you look through the evolutions on it, is that people will draw us in and out, but we usually come back. Not everybody does, though. There's all those lapsed fans from the 90s that they haven't found a way to get back. But I guarantee you, if they found a way to strike those demographics of that lapsed fan that's been gone for all these years, if they could find a way to engage them with things like what we're talking about now that brought us back in, man, maybe they could grow their audience to that level again.
Well, it's crazy because if you look at Netflix right now, the documentary that just came out on Mr. McMahon is literally the #1 watch thing on Netflix
for a week straight, too.
For a week straight.
Yeah.
That tells you that those people are still out there.
Yeah. Right.
And think of how many people have viewed that, you know, on Netflix. Because how many subscribers does Netflix have? You know, let me ask you.
An ungodly amount of people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's see what Netflix has for subscribers on an average. Let's see what they say. 277.65 million subscribers per month as of 2024.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's #1 on Netflix.
And you have
would
the
be
opportunity
interested
to have that streamed through them. What an opportunity.
I would be interested to see how many streams that has actually got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of that 200 and whatever $1 million, I would love to see how many people actually streamed that show.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the bandwidth of that server that they must have and how they must configure that to store all that information that they have in there?
Incredible.
That's why they're very hesitant. I've heard from taking on the Peacock network with the WWE library that's on there. This is one of the things I'm kind of worried about with it, because Netflix has really not had an interest in it, apparently, from what I've heard and seen and on a few stories about it. And that's basically just one of the main reasons they said was the expense of transferring it all over and the storage on it, was that they didn't know if it would be a worthwhile investment, because they think that they can just draw them in live instead of.
You need to go back to the original WWE network, in my opinion.
$9.99 a month.
Loved it.
It was a great user friendly app.
Yeah.
You know, you could find anything you wanted to, and it was a lot easier.
I'd still pay $9 a month for it. I pay it for fucking Peacock.
I would pay $15 to $20 a month.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Don't do it to us though, Peacock. Or
don't
whatever.
do it.
Right.
Don't do it to us.
Don't listen to what we're saying.
We're not saying this. What about you, Rich? What's a moment where you had fallen out that brought you back in, that made you fall back in love, and what keeps you in love with wrestling now?
What brought me back was, again, the Fiend and all that stuff with the Bray Wyatt character. He was the guy that brought me back, not to steal Jude's, but that was the one guy during that time frame of wrestling being, pretty much god awful, that kept me, intrigued with it all and able to put up with it. And I thought that they were actually going to book him correctly. And then, like I said, when me and you, we were doing a podcast together every week, sometimes we would do it every day, to where we got so passionate about the retro stuff. But we finally started getting interested in the product because of Bray Wyatt and the Fiend and the Firefly Funhouse and all that stuff.
We would analyze that shit every week.
Yeah. And then they booked that horrible Hell in a Cell match, and we were just like, enough is enough.
Yeah.
And, we finally were like, fuck it. We just can't watch this shit anymore. So we quit watching for a while. But, what brought me back. I don't think
we covered live on the show, including with me and Chris. I don't think we covered modern topics on the show probably for about 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Occasionally we would talk about it, but basically for 3 years, we didn't touch it.
Yeah.
With all of us.
And so, what keeps me coming back and what makes me stay in love with wrestling is, like I said, it's been the constant in my life through the good, the bad, the ugly, my childhood, my substance abuse, all of that. Wrestling has always helped me get through those times. And not to mention the community, like we're talking about now, the podcast, it's a great community we've already built here, but not just here, but in the wrestling collecting group of people as well. A lot of lovely people in that. When you go to live shows, when you go to the beer leagues here in town and stuff like that, and you go catch a wrestling show that's here and stuff, there's no better time than to sit down with a wrestling fan and just experience that energy. Whether it's a small show, a big show, WWE, whatever, it's a great time, man. And you'll always be able to find a friend. Like literally, I'll walk in Walmart with an NWO shirt on, and you'll still have people stop you and give you the too sweet.
I swear to God, on my kid's life, okay? When I was in Costa Rica, they recognized the shirt. And then when we were in the mall shopping for my daughter's thing, I had my NWO shirt on 2 Sundays ago. Even a cop came up to me and hit me with a too sweet. I swear to God, a cop came up to me in the Destiny USA Mall in Syracuse, and he just love the shirt, bro, for life, man. We hit a too sweet. People love that. Another guy walking to the fucking bathroom and he sees this shit. He goes, Hollywood Hogan, man, the NWO is the greatest time ever in wrestling. They still see it. Can you believe it? 30 years later.
Yeah, my wife, who's not a wrestling fan at all, she'll sit there and tolerate it. And there's a lot of things that she even gets sucked in with the Attitude Era and stuff. She's like, this is awesome. So I mean, that just tells you there's a lot of powerful moments in that any walk of life can become a fan of wrestling. They just have to find that one moment that sucks them in.
Yeah, wrestling is a universal language.
It is.
It is. You want to know what the most unique thing in the world is when you go? I love to travel. Anybody that knows me knows I love to travel. I love to travel the world every year. I love to do it. It's my thing. You can go anywhere across the fucking world, man. And I swear to God on this too. And you will see when I was in Japan, they have I was flying back on WrestleMania Day, and I'm watching wrestling from Japan for WWE at that point in time. You go to the most remote third world countries in the Philippines, anywhere in Asia I've ever been.
They're all watching it and shit.
They're right up to date with it. They know it. It's right on the fucking things. They might be a little bit delayed a few days or a week sometimes occasionally, but you got wrestling streaming in third world countries across the world. I've seen it with my own eyes. It's amazing to see. Like, can you imagine when he started this that he could have ever thought that he could have got to that level? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Crazy. All right, let me see for everybody here. Here's a good question. How many fans left for a while after the Benoit saga? I did not. I
didn't blame the wrestling business on Benoit. I blame Benoit on Benoit.
Yeah, for sure.
I can understand it being disturbing to people for sure, though, where it might have been like just something that took away a lot for them. So I can understand that too from all perspectives. I mean, I thought it was terrible, but it didn't take me away from it at that point. So. Jeremy, what's going on, buddy? Welcome, my friend. Welcome. As always, good to see you, my friend. Well, let's see. Let me get to a few more. Well, Rance, we do not have the money to create that wonderful platform. If they ever would like to invest in it, we could sure do that, though. That'd be great.
Maybe down the road, man, when we get this thing off the ground, we can, talk about it.
Rewind says, dude, I never see people in wrestling shirts anymore. Back in the day, all the time.
I wear them all the time.
I rock them out too, but the main ones that I see are the nostalgia shirts, like the NWO stuff.
That's all I wear. I don't wear any of the new shit.
Yeah, I'm not buying a Nia Jax shirt or anything like that.
Good God. No. Good God.
Tribes in the Amazon forest have seen pro wrestling. Yeah, talk about power, right?
True.
Mm-hmm. On one of my buses halfway back home, half the people are there living on a prayer quote to a Bon Jovi song. Fell asleep before the show. What's the topic again? We're finishing up on our favorite things that brought us to make us a wrestling fan, Jeremy, and what's keeping us there, times we've lapsed on it. I'll give one. What brought me back this last run was, as crazy as this sounds, Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah.
Love the guy. I love heels. Dominic Mysterio. Yeah. I would still every week, read the spoilers, kind of keep up, catch a few highlights here and there. When Dominic Mysterio was coming out with that feud with Rey, and he comes out, with the mask on in WrestleMania a couple years ago and all that shit, I fell in love with the character for the first time in a long time. And then I'd always been critical of Roman Reigns before. And I really started watching the bloodline angle. And I love heels way more than baby faces. I'd be a heel if I was a wrestler all day. That's the way I'd want to be. And I'm watching these guys that they got, like the Dominic Mysterios over there and some other people that are starting to push out. And then I start catching more wrestling and I'm finding these great characters that I'm just loving again. But Dominic Mysterio made me really fall back in love with wrestling because I loved that art of him being a heel and the heat that he drew. It was amazing. And he's still getting it today. I saw him come out of the lowrider, Eddie's lowrider with Liv recently or something, right?
Oh, it was Raw a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh, you got to love it.
Well, the other thing that brought me back a little bit too was the return of Sting in AEW. I loved seeing all that stuff over there, you know, and actually getting to see his retirement and everything like that was a good send off in my opinion. He had one of the best send offs a wrestler could have.
Yeah,
I think that they strung out Sting too long.
Yeah,
in AEW, I just think that could have been a 1 year type thing and then done. I just think they strung that along too much.
I think he wanted it though. You know, you gotta respect that grind on him that he still wanted it. I think they gave him the best send off that anybody would have given him. WWE would have never did him correctly in that year he was there, and they still wouldn't have done him correctly.
If they had the Undertaker versus Sting, they would have had Taker go over, no doubt.
Yeah, 100%.
I was just going to say that would be the only way WWE could give him a send off is him against Taker. He would never beat Taker though.
No. Especially if the streak would have still been alive too. There was no way that was
going to happen. If they didn't have him beat Triple H, they would never have him beat Taker.
Yeah,
no.
But I mean, you got to give Tony Khan credit. We give him a lot of shit, but he has a lot of respect for people. The way he treats his top guys and top people over there and those performers. And when he knows they're retiring, he gives them one hell of a send-off. He gave Sting one hell of a send-off. He's given Bryan Danielson one hell of a send-off.
He is.
And I like that because to me, in WWE, this is a negative of them in the past. When somebody's not around anymore, it's always do them dirty on the way out and shit on them and do things. Look at what they did to Jim Ross so many times and countless others. Yeah. I like seeing people get treated with respect that deserve it, like a legend, like a Sting or a Danielson.
Look what
they need to give one to Jericho.
Look what they did to Kurt Angle on the way out in WWE. They booked him like a jabroni too.
Yeah,
dude, Dirty Dom is bringing people back to wrestling. I think this is pretty evident right here. He brought Rewind back too. Dirty Dom, what a guy.
Yep.
World champion.
There are rumors right now. With Money in the Bank, there are 2 front runner names for Money in the Bank.
I hope to God about what you're going to say right now.
One is Dominic Mysterio.
Should be.
Yes.
You'll never guess the second one.
Hit me with it.
Finn Balor.
R-Truth.
R-Truth.
I love it.
Dude, if they do it, oh my God. We've always
R-Truth.
said, please give him the one moment.
Yep.
As much as I love Dom, give it to Truth.
Comedy gold, man. Could you see him like attempting to cash in on like a women's match?
Dude, it'd be incredible.
Amazing.
Oh my God, yeah.
Give the man his rub.
Yep. Give him his flowers.
It'd be awesome to have him show up at a house show and them do that too. You know, there's so many ways you could go about it.
Well, I mean, they just made him a singles guy last night again, so you know they had the Miz turn on and everything. It's a good way to maybe start that. I would love to see him get a Money in the Bank. Him and Dirty Dom are my 2 front runners.
Let him cash it in, and then let him cash it in a pay-per-view. Get that moment. Take it off of him at Raw. It wouldn't hurt him at all.
Give him the Matt Cardona treatment. Give it, take it off him the next night.
Yep. Take it off him the next night.
Just do it once.
Yeah.
Yep. Just one time. Let him be a world champion, and then just take it off of him and just be like, a retirement type thing.
A fart in the wind. Yeah.
Yep. Here you go. Here's you're going to now be known as a former world heavyweight champion.
Yep.
Thank you for everything you did.
Yep.
Have a nice day.
If there's anybody that deserves it, it's an R-Truth.
It's
him.
Oh yeah.
The fucking guy is a company man. He'll do anything. He looks like he's 25 years old still.
He hasn't aged a bit.
No.
Isn't he in his 50s or close to it?
Yeah.
I think he's 52.
And a lot of people don't know this. He's a very close friend of Vince McMahon too.
That's an interesting combo. What conversations are R-Truth and Vinnie Mac having?
Right?
God, I want to be a fly on the wall on that.
Do not let R-Truth be involved in anything with Vince McMahon.
And please don't let there
everybody
be
thought the unnamed wrestler was Brock Lesnar that he was trying to get re-signed and offering this poor girl out to. No, it was really R-Truth. God,
please don't let that happen.
Please don't let him be involved, man. That would kill. That would kill one of my favorites of all time. Please, no.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I hope it's Lesnar because I don't really care too much about him anyways. I hope it's Lesnar, not Truth. If it's somebody that really, you know, is going to get blown out for doing this awful thing, I hope it's Lesnar and not somebody like that we all love like Truth, you know?
Yeah.
God, I mean, I would never like him again because that's just the worst shit in the world that those people could do. And it was awful and egregious and disgusting. And anybody involved in it, fuck them. You know,
here's my thing too that I'm afraid of is Taker and Vince had a phenomenal relationship.
Don't say it, Jude. Don't say it.
Richie, and I'm a Taker guy, man.
Done. Would you just own him for that,
guy.
Jude?
I would be fucking heartbroken for life.
Yeah,
I would too.
It would be rough.
Me and wrestling would have a serious talk, man.
Now they have said on multiple occasions since this all came out, Taker has said, and they believe him, is that he knew nothing.
Well, the thing is you got to look at where Taker is at in his life too. He's gone back to church. He's been saved again. All the signs are not there of that type of behavior. You know, being married to Michelle McCool, his kids and stuff like that. Like, if he was doing that, I doubt he would be going back to church and getting involved with that stuff.
When have you ever heard somebody say a negative thing about The Undertaker?
You haven't.
You don't.
You haven't. You've never heard anything negative about him.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. He was so good at protecting the character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that is what kept him out of all the bullshit.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
He was that backstage guy. They said he ran the locker room when he was full-time.
Yeah.
They said he ran the locker room whenever he was part-time too.
Right.
You know, but he protected the character.
And he protected the business.
Right. And I think because of that, I think Taker's one of those guys where if he saw anything, you'd either know about it or he went, I'm out.
Well, think of the Montreal Screwjob. Who was the first one to tape his knuckles up and get ready to go after Vince McMahon?
Think about this too, though. You know, think about this as well with Taker. Taker's got all the respect from everybody in the world. To me, if there's one person, if they would have known that was going on to this poor, innocent, defenseless woman that they're doing this to, if there's one person that I know and would bet on would say something and do something about it if they found out about it and knew, is Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, because he's a Hall of Fame human being from what people know him say about him. He's a man of good morals and values. He's a good dude all the way around, and he takes no bullshit and injustice from anybody. I bet you if Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, would have known about that, he'd have gone and beat the fuck out of Vince, no matter how much he loved him and respected him as a father.
Absolutely.
If you ever get a chance to see his one-man
that's the man
show,
I think Undertaker is would do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance to see his one-man show, he talks a lot of stories. I mean, he talks about, and it's never the same. You know, I've seen it. I've seen it once. The stories that he tells about backstage and how he was, and you know what he did and stuff like that.
Yep.
Just listening to his stories, he would be the guy that would grab Vince McMahon by the neck and take him down to the police station and go, "This guy's a piece of shit. You need to lock him up."
Yep, 100%.
And then just meeting him, like I met him at Pittsburgh Comic-Con. And just talking to him and the way he interacts with people, the man is just gold, man, to me. You know, it would just, he's a hell of a guy. You know, the one-man show, listening to his stories and, you know, about how, you know, I guess whenever Maven kicked him out of the Royal Rumble, I guess Maven told him, "You're a legend. I do not want to do this." He's like, I don't want to do it. There's no way I'm going to do it. And Taker literally Taker says in his show, he said, I looked at Maven and said, if you don't disqualify me, I'll end your career. And he said he walked away, and Maven's like, he 100% meant
every word of it.
And he said he wasn't going to do it backstage.
He said, yes, sir, I'll do it whenever you want me to.
Yep. And he said that whenever it came time for him to drop kick Taker, he said, I did the best drop kick I've ever done in my life.
Yep.
And he said, whenever I came backstage, Taker told me, he's like, hey, good job out there, but if you ever kick me like that again, that hard, I'm going to end your career.
Do you watch or listen to his podcast, the 6 Feet Under?
I've listened to some of it. But what I have listened to it, like the stories, like some of the stories he talks on the podcast is what he did in his one-man show.
Yeah.
But like some of the other stories that he says, or like some of his thought processes on things, is pretty comical. Like what he says on his podcast here that I saw, the one other part that was on his podcast, he talked about cucumbers.
Mm-hmm.
He hates cucumbers. And he brought it up in a one-man show, with Paul Bear and, with some stuff that they used to rib him with this backstage. And he said, I got to the point where I had to threaten everybody.
Wow.
But yeah, he's like, I had to threaten everybody. He's like, and I was pretty serious about it. People bring it up all the time, and stuff like that. But no, I haven't listened to it as much as I wish I could. But yeah, he just, like I said, seeing him in a one-man show, phenomenal human being. Watching him interact with people whenever it was at the Comic-Con, he's just a genuine guy,
I've never met him. It's always been he's one of my ones I would just die to meet. I would love him, and everything. I'm not the biggest Undertaker fan like you are. I love him and respect him. He's just, to me, he's like the godfather, it seems like, of professional wrestling in a lot of ways. Just the OG, one of the OGs, at least to me, and just one of the godfathers of pro wrestling. I've been trying to catch a little bit more of his podcast when I'm on the road, because I'm on the road a lot for work. So I try to catch up with some of the stuff. He's getting really good. I just got to say too. I know he said he doesn't like how he does, but I think he's getting really good, and he's putting on interviews. He brought Maven actually on his show, and Maven's got a huge YouTube channel now, and is killing it on his YouTube. I mean, this guy's got third life, and is making buku bucks over there. He's doing great. If you haven't checked Maven's channel, I'll check it out. I guarantee you're going to like it. He's really cool. And Taker brought him on, and to hear the conversation, like you were mentioning right there, when he was telling that, and he said, I was just ready to die when you told me that. And Mark was like, what did you think when I told you? He's like, I didn't think it was real at first, and he's like, well, what did you think when I told you to make sure you did it? Like you said. And he's like, I just didn't want you to kick the shit out of me afterwards. Right? He's like, I don't know what I'm doing, sir. I just started this a little bit ago. I don't know what I'm doing, man. You're one of the greatest ever. He's like,
during his one-man show, Taker says he's only ever been afraid of two men ever in the business.
Yep.
Brody and Haku.
Yep.
Haku.
Said those are the only two people I was ever afraid of whenever I was in wrestling.
Brody beat the shit out of him in a match.
Yeah, Brody. He said whenever Brody beat him the way that he beat him, he said, I almost rethought my, being in the business.
In wrestling. Yeah. He was clubbing him in the back so hard, he said, I felt like my back was going to snap in half,
Yeah.
Brody's one that doesn't get mentioned enough, with one of the all-time biggest tough men in wrestling. That nobody wanted to fuck with. Have you ever heard Lex's story?
Oh, God.
Have you ever heard Lex's story about his first match? His first match was in WCW was against I don't know if it's WCW, but I think it was his actual first match was against Brody, and they were putting him in a big match in like a main event with him, and he didn't know shit. And he said he screwed up so bad in the match, and it was just awful in a train wreck with Brody, and that Brody did the best he could, to lead him through, and he was trying to help him. And he said Brody just beat the shit out of him in the ring, but the fans booed him out of the building. They hated it. It was awful.
Yeah.
Luger said he was so embarrassed. He thought Brody was going to come back and kill him in the back because he had heard about his reputation. And he said when Brody came back, he's like, Mr. Brody, or whatever his real name is, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry. He's like, I thought this guy was going to fucking kill me. And then he says, says to me, it's okay, kid. We'll get him the next time. Don't worry about it. Like that. He's like,
shit out of him.
He's like, I heard all these stories about Brody. He goes, so then I think he's this nice guy and everything. He was always nice to me. He goes, and I'm like, how can these stories be true? And he goes, then I saw Brody in action one time. He goes, man, that was some scary shit to see. I know why they said what they said about him. He was just a legit badass. And then, of course, you said Haku.
I forget who. Yeah, no, it's fucking with Haku. I forget who it was, but somebody said that they had a match with Brody, and they were a rookie. I forget who it was. It wasn't Luger though, but I forget who it was. They said whenever they got into the match, he was like, "I started calling the match," and he said, "As a new guy, you don't call the match."
Yeah.
He said, "I started calling the match." He said, and then I knew I was doing something wrong when Brody punched me square in the mouth.
Yep.
And it wasn't a fake punch.
I think that was on the where they had the dinner with three people at a time. I think it was on one of those episodes. I thought it was Vader.
Table for three, right?
Table for three. Was it Vader?
I thought it was Vader. Yeah.
It might.
I don't think Vader was on that one. I don't think he was on a table for three. I don't think they ever had him.
He was.
Was it?
Vader was definitely.
Yeah, Vader was on one. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and watch that.
Because he was on, and I remember whenever he was on, they were talking about him and Steve Hansen when Steve Hansen busted.
Yeah, when he knocked his
Right.
eye out with the bull rope.
Right.
Yeah. It might have
That
been
blind
Vader,
son
but
of
he
a
said,
bitch. He doesn't wear his glasses, and he's swinging that
I'm
fucking
pretty
thing
sure
near my
it
head.
was Vader. Yeah.
yeah, but
Oh.
said he was calling a match, and Brody went, no.
You don't do that.
Sean
Yeah.
saw states when he was younger.
Oh,
Isn't
wow.
that crazy?
Yeah.
Brody's a name that younger
He doesn't
wrestling
get
fans.
enough love, man.
He
doesn't get
really
enough
doesn't,
love.
man. And I don't think a lot of young wrestling fans follow and up on and study the Bruiser Brody way of doing things. This guy was a fucking badass everywhere he went, and the fans knew him by word of mouth all
You're
across
right,
the world.
Jeremy. It was on the Stone Cold podcast. That was Undertaker.
There it is.
You're right. It
Oh, it was
Undertaker.
Taker. Okay.
Yeah, it was Taker.
There it is. Well, all right, guys. So let's say we take a quick break. Jude, Richie, you guys good for a little overtime after?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's say we take about 5 to 10 guys, and we'll come back right after that. I'll open up the lines. If you guys want to come on and share what made you a wrestling fan, or some things that you want to talk
I can't
about, or
wait.
anything you want to discuss, we'll do it right after. I'll put the invite out, the invite link out now.
Can
So
I just
if
say
you-
we all know what Rewind's going to say and who he's
Oh,
going to
you
talk
know
about?
what he? But hey, it's all good. If he wants to share about the goat, man, I'm all for listening on that.
This is a safe place, okay?
Yeah,
This is
right,
a
right.
very safe. Anything you
Yeah.
like here. So I
We're
put the
going to need a
link out,
safe word
guys.
from Rewind.
There you go.
He'll have to tell. He has special ones for everybody. Richie's
Yeah,
is
he does.
Well, we can't tell Richie's, but it might have something to do with smooth hands.
Yeah.
So,
P. Diddy
Guys-
had an excess of that. So
guys, the link is up right now. If you want to join us after the break, just click on that and you can come on in. Just have good connection, please. And if there's background stuff, if you could just keep it down so we can get some good audio and everybody can hear you. And that's like the only things I just asked for. If potentially you could please do. And we want to hear all of your thoughts after. I love this topic, Jude, that you picked out. I could talk about this for hours,
Oh, yeah.
and all these great things that we're discussing. But we'll be back right after the break, guys. We'll see you in about 10, okay? All right, guys. All right, guys, welcome back. Sorry about that. I am old. I had a knee replacement last year, so I apologize. Sometimes I have to get up in about an hour and a half, and everybody, I know we take about 10 minutes or so, so I apologize if it's long. My body gets so damn stiff because of my leg. I have to stand up like every hour. Hour and a half is like the longest I can go, and I have to literally stand up for 10 minutes or so just to remove the kinks out in my leg. So I apologize if there are ever long breaks, guys. I don't need to do it that long. I just have to recover fast. So, all right,
I'm 47 years old and have to do that with no surgeries. So
it's fun, right? You know?
Yeah.
It's fun to get old, man. All right, guys, I'm going to open up the lines. We're going to go for about 20 more minutes or so tonight just because it's getting a little late, and Jude's got work in the morning. Richie's got work in the morning, so do I. So we'll make it up this week. I'm sure we'll do an impromptu. So links out there again if you want to give us a reason, you know, things about what made you a fan of wrestling. We want to hear you. So if you want to come on and tell us, great. No worries. If not.
By the way, Jude, thanks for being gracious with your time and hopping on the show with us tonight, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely. No problem, guys. I look forward to this every Tuesday. So I actually move my work schedule around to make sure I'm here.
Oh, shit, dude. That's awesome.
What an honor, man. What an honor right there. Seriously, dude. Thanks,
that's huge. Thank you.
Yeah, man. That means a lot, man. Thank you for that. 100%, man. That's really cool.
And, you know, we want to return the favor. I know you asked us to come on your show. So whenever you get that up and running, you let us know, and we'll be happy to be on there.
We'll promote the shit out of it, too.
Yeah, me and my buddy Tim have been talking about getting back into it. The problem we have right now is we both work in the same store together, and we work the same schedules or around the same schedule, so it's hard for us to record because like if he's working, I'm not, or I'm working, he's not. So, but we are going to try and iron out those kinks to get back into it. Yeah. So
whatever you need help with, bro.
And if you need a platform too, let us know. I mean,
always, anytime, man.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's bring on our esteemed panel for the evening tonight. So our great guest that we'll bring on. I would like to bring them on one at a time. First, I'm going to bring on, he's our favorite friend from Down Under. He is the man, he's the myth, and he's most certainly the legend of the great Queensland area in Australia. So let's welcome Lawrence to the show. I'm going to try to give everybody their own little entrance here from what I got.
There he is.
Let me see what's in here and what reminds me of each of these people a little bit. So, Lawrence, this one's for you, buddy. Get a little dragon on here for Lawrence. Lawrence, welcome to the show, my friend. Ricky Steamboat, Legendary Music, our friend from Down Under.
From Down Under.
We can't hear you good though, Lawrence. I can't hear you good.
I'm out and about. You might be because there's cars and stuff.
Yeah,
I can keep walking and see if you can hear me better while I'm walking.
Yeah, it's super loud, Lawrence. So I'm gonna mute it if it gets a little loud. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. It's just the back feed on it that comes out when you might like talk on it. So let's give it another test here. Let me hear you, Lawrence.
G'day, how's it going?
Much better right there. There we go.
Because there's not cars driving past before, there's like a heap of cars.
Look at this. I'm honored. He's in Australia walking around and watching and talking.
Love it.
My dude.
Yeah.
So, Lawrence,
you can see there's buildings behind me. It's not bloody like Mad Max. People probably think it's like Mad Max.
We love you, Lazza.
Yeah, you're Blackjack Lazza. You're good by us always, my friend. So, Lazza, tell us your story real quick first. What made you a fan of professional wrestling?
I have a strange story. I got into pro wrestling when I was really young because my friend used to play fight with me. He was 3 years older, and he was a huge fan of Bret Hart. Mm-hmm. And I become like a fan through that. But then I sort of stopped watching for a bit, and then I happened to pop on WWF Superstars during the Attitude Era, and I loved it, and I kept watching. Because my mum would discourage me from watching wrestling, but then when I was a teenager, I just rebelled and decided I was going to go full throttle.
Has it always been mainstream where you live in Australia? Has wrestling always been mainstream in your lifetime?
Oh, what's that?
Has wrestling always been mainstream? Yeah. Has wrestling always been mainstream for you? Les, I'm just going to cut you off for now just because of the back feed that's going on outside. It's just so loud. I can't hear you. I apologize, buddy. So I just got to mute it because I can't hear anything out of it. So if you get inside and it gets better, just let me know. Just give me a thumbs up. I'll take you off for a second, but I'll see you backstage. So if you get it better, just let me know. So if not, no worries. We'll get you next week when you come on or when we come back. All right. You can't see him. He's like a Vince McMahon character.
Or John Cena.
Yeah, or John Cena or Little Jimmy. You cannot see this man, but nonetheless, we're going to invite Jeremy. Jeremy,
What's going on, guys?
what's up, my friend? Tell me, Jeremy, what made you?
Jeremy,
we gotta
just
hear
so
the
you
move.
know, man, the invitation to the FTW family is still out there. I got this great sticker that Rewind sent of our future GOAT, Mr. Hook.
What a present, bro.
Her wife will probably have the same reaction as mine did. Just be
Oh
careful.
God, I seen that sticker tonight on the website. That's horrible.
I'm telling you right now, my wife looked at me and said, Rich, do we have something we need to talk about? Or so
Jeremy, what made you fall in love with professional wrestling? Tell us your story.
So my story is going to seem kind of far fetched because of the description of the person and the person's name, because the person's name is the same name as the celebrity. My dad played in a softball league, and there was a guy there by the name of Freddie Roach. And
Freddie Roach?
Yeah, like the trainer that trained Manny Pacquiao, same name, but the
Different guy though.
Yeah, different
Okay.
guy. But the guy looked like an identical twin to Hulk Hogan. Had the same hairstyle, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they always called him the Hulk. And my dad just asked him one day, said, "Hey, why do they call you the Hulk?" He said, "Dude, do you not watch wrestling?" And Dad said, "No, I don't watch that." He said, "Dude, get your son into it. He would love it. There's a guy named Hulk Hogan, and they say I look like him." Well, my dad, we watched the episode of WWE Superstars on a Saturday, and I got hooked on it. Well, my cousin Gary told my dad, said, "Hey, there's another alternative called WCW or NWA back in the day." He said, they're doing a show in a couple of weeks at the Omni in Atlanta.
Classic arena right there.
And he said, let's take Jeremy and see what he thinks of this product. Again, I'm a 5-year-old kid. So we go to this show in the Omni, and there's 3 matches that got my attention that made me a diehard wrestling fan. The first one was the Road Warriors against the Wild Samoans.
Ooh, cool.
Love the
I
Road
would love
Warriors.
to see that.
And I got to see my favorite wrestler of all time, Sting. Sting wrestled the Great Muta.
Man,
And
what a
then
feud.
and then the main event of
that would be a bucket list for me. The Great Muta. It's always been one of my favorites.
Damn.
And then the main event of the show, I got to see the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair to an hour match.
Wow.
Oh wow.
And Sting, Dusty, and the Road Warriors sold me. And then the first pay-per-view that I seen was Starrcade '89, the Future Shock, where they had the Crockett Cup tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that became my favorite show ever as far as pay-per-views. And then, Sting became a member of the Horsemen, and they turned on Sting, and then, he had the whole leg injury, and he came back from the leg injury and took the belt off of Flair and became world champion. And that's what saw me going forward, because to me that was the greatest match of all time.
So Sting was your main catalyst for you, though. He was your hooking point, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So Sting's your hooking point. Give us a perspective real quick here, because I got one more person I want to hear their memories too. And that's a great memory, Jeremy. I love that. That's a great story and what made you love it. But I want to hear from you as an Atlanta boy, a guy that lives right outside of Atlanta, born, bred, everything. Lived there your whole life, right? In Georgia, the great state of Georgia. How big was WCW when you were a kid in the Atlanta, area in Georgia? Was it a big thing for people to watch? Just like, because that's where we're based out of TBS, Time Warner stuff. What was it like?
Oh man, it was everything that it was portrayed to be on TV. When they would do like the WCW Nitro and say like they were in the Carolinas or they were in Atlanta or whatever, and Ric Flair said, "Hey, this is Horseman country." It was all true. I mean, hardly ever until the Attitude Era started in WWE. Everything that was talked around here was WCW. WWE was for people that lived in the North, but they got more and more attention once Monday Night Raw came out. I mean, yeah, people talked about Hulk Hogan and they talked about Randy Savage, but this is legit and forever will be WCW country.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone around here grew up on Sting, Flair, the Horseman, and it was like the Monday Night War. It became a real like debate thing,
Mhm.
like almost like an election. Like, hey, you're either Team WWE or you're Team WCW.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Yeah. What a good story, though, man. That's why I love to hear about everybody's stories and stuff. And I love to hear from people that live near those areas. Like, you know, Arizona, maybe not like a hotbed for wrestling like it is in other spots, but I'm sure, you know, back in the day there was those spots for them. But
Yeah.
you know, I love to hear the perspectives from people from other countries and other places and areas where those things were predominant. You know, it's always interesting for me to hear that. And great story, Jeremy. I love that one. I'm glad you shared that with us.
And we had a convention center that opened up in my town, and they ran WWF and WCW shows there, and I got to go to like one of each when they first opened. The WWF show had Randy Savage versus Jay the Snake in the old blue cage.
Ooh, there you go.
And this was literally weeks after the Cobra bit Randy. And then WCW comes to town, and you have Sting and Ricky Steamboat versus Ric Flair and Steve Austin. And the crowd was just more alive in the WCW show than it was the WWF guy, because these guys in WCW, these were our guys. These were the guys that we got easier access to on TV, and they got our attention a lot more than the WWF guys.
Got the hometown rub.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, good stories, Jeremy. Thanks, buddy, man. I really appreciate you sharing that with us, man. It's always absolutely, always, brother. Once again, it's always great to hear what, you know, brought everybody in for their fandom and everything like that. All right, now our next guest, I think, is probably going to be my last one I'm going to be able to bring on tonight just because of time constraints. So if you're still in the green room after this person, I will get you on next week, okay? So we'll do next week for that. So our last one of tonight will be Richie's favorite, because he has the soft part of the United States right out there in the great state of Oregon. He is a Duck fan. He is an all-around badass. He is the leader of DomCon 2 this year in New Orleans. And he hosts a great segment here on the show called the Punishment Bowl each week. Next week, we're looking forward to another Punishment Bowl from this gentleman. And I got to keep going on in this intro because he's that much of a legend. Survive if he lets you. Welcome, Rewind.
Going on, guys. My man.
Y'all are special because you get your own music, each and every one of you. I love you guys.
Thank you. Future Hall of Famer right here, guys. I know we're all
welcome.
Barry Horowitz.
Barry Horowitz.
Wow.
That's a fucking shirt I've never seen.
We know a fat guy that can get you in an interview with him, man.
Seriously.
Dude, I wore this shirt all day. I went grocery shopping. I went to the bank, got gas.
That's
There wasn't
badass.
anything about it. Can you imagine that? Future Hall
Were
of
the
Famer.
babes
Did
flocking to
anyone
you
ask
with the
for
Barry
extra
shirt?
toilet paper?
I was knocking down panties left and right, John. Just knocking them down.
Dude.
I'll tell you,
Taz
Rewind.
You
Your
thought
next-
Taz was a panty dropper, bro. Like Barry Horowitz with that mullet when he puts the baby oil in it. No pun intended, P. Diddy. But when he rocks that out, the ladies are just, it's red panty night right there.
Dude.
Whatever area Barry Horowitz is in.
If you don't wear that on your next date, Rewind, I'm gonna be
Please.
really upset.
Hey, we
I
all
have
have a bet. We got a bet right now in our group chat that Rewind needs to pull off fucking a chick with the FTW title on it. We need to know what's going to happen.
We
first.
need.
Is she going to peg him with the FTW belt on, or is he pegging her?
I think it should be she pegging him.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll talk to her about it. You know, she said she's what she's into. You know, go from there. Richie, you got that picture of Hook, so I know what you're gonna be doing tonight. You know, a little this. You know.
He's gonna be cradling that shit at night tonight,
Yeah.
Jason. He's gonna be holding that real tight to him tonight.
This is near and dear to my heart, and I got two. So
Yeah.
I feel like these are friendship bracelets. You know.
My idea was one for your truck, one for your toolbox, or one for
Dude.
work. You know.
You're a man. You are
You
the
get
man.
tattooed right on your right ass cheek.
Right on my quickest.
Oh, now rewind. I want to hear yours. Lorenz, don't worry at all, bro. No need. I know you were doing stuff today. We tried to get you to come on, man, and everything, and it was loud. No worries, bro. You're always welcome on the show. This is just our fun segment on the show. So if we have some noise and shit, not a big deal, man. Don't even worry about it. Next week, you come on and tell us all about it for sure. Rewind, though. You're our last guest of tonight. We've had a wonderful night. This has been one of my favorite shows we've done in ages. I mean, I love every week when we do it. Jude picked out such a great topic. You guys' memories made our night. Rich even texted me on the break and said, I just love this. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Said the same thing. I want to hear yours, though. What made you a fan of professional wrestling?
Welcome.
Welcome.
Regretting that right now.
Hit
First
us
off,
with it.
I want to thank Jude for the awesome topic. It's a great topic, dude. Really is.
Yeah. No
Second
problem.
off,
No problem.
Second off, October 11th is the GOAT's birthday. Mark it on your calendars. Send him a message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Absolutely.
Tell Taz
Jason, I got the gang getting all together. A couple more collections, and then we'll put it down in the catering hall to get all of his legions of fans in. It'll happen.
It's gonna be a lot.
Make it happen on time.
All right, cool. My story is very, very similar to Richie, like almost to the T. I discovered WCW first. My first vivid memory is Scott Hall jumping the railing in the denim jacket with his hair. I didn't even know who Razor Ramon was. I didn't even know who WWF was at the time. I just remember watching WCW and him jumping over it. And then later on,
Oh my god.
I've been saving that. Sorry, everyone. I had to interrupt you with that.
Dude, Sean, if that happens, we need it on video. Like straight up.
Rewind invents a new sexual position called the kata hajime.
Oh god. Kama Sutra.
Video proof or it didn't happen, man.
It didn't happen.
do you want to see me doing that, guys? Because I can make it work out.
You're so gonna get suspended.
We don't want to see it, but we feel obligated, okay?
Quickest way to get demonetized: having Rewind do the the Taz mission on his fucking bitch.
Just about ready.
Taz,
We're
tell
just
me.
about
I'm
ready to
ready
get
for
it
time.
back here, and it's gone now.
I know it's gone.
Sorry, Jason. I didn't mean to interrupt you, man.
You're all good, dude. Where was I? Oh yeah, Scott Hall jumping over. That was my first vivid memory. You all right, Richie?
Oh yeah, you always get me, bro.
Or you can talk about my Taz if you want. You know. we'll have that
Oh
all
Jesus.
night.
Oh god. Oh Jesus. Welcome.
Rewind. We definitely need to have a beer together sometime.
Yeah, dude. Straight up.
Day.
You
I
thought
thought
you
you had some
hey,
stories,
you
dude.
thought you didn't like you, man.
Yeah.
Oh no, I love Rewind, man. Come
Yeah.
on now.
Some of those stories, you get that look on your face. You're like, "What the hell's wrong with this kid?"
No, it's just what
Well,
it is like when I
a
don't
loaded
think it
question.
could get any, like weirder. You're like,
So next week,
the SummerSlam next year in New Jersey.
Yes.
Gotta go.
Let's do it. Let's
I'll
do
get
it.
the but man.
It's in John's neck of the woods around there. Like, let's do it.
I
Only
love
like 2.5, 3 hours away from me.
Yeah.
So
do you know what time of
Shit.
year, like what month it is, or like what week? 'Cause I gotta pick my
August.
vacation in like December.
August.
Yeah. And it's up at MetLife. It's up at MetLife Stadium too.
Let's do it, dude.
That's my birthday weekend too.
I'll tell you, it's fun,
Go
man.
in, bro.
You know, we got plenty enough time in advance that we could try to
Yeah.
plan this out for the whole group for anybody wanting to come for
I am so
all the
in.
great watchers. It'd be fun, man. I love it.
We'll all get a fucking Airbnb, some beers, grill some steaks. And
Well, if you
just
come
have a
up to New
blast.
York, you always got a spot to stay with John. I got a big enough house.
Rewind's got a great massaging table.
Bro, that's my only payment though. If you want to stay, I gotta get extra deep tissue massages.
John,
Right
I will
go.
rub you down like no one's
That's a
ever
little
rubbed
gay,
you.
no homo, but
No homo right here. The guy's got magic hands from what I've heard from people.
Yeah.
Did you hear
You're
what
talking
Charlie
about this
Sheen-
look, right? Rewind.
Listen.
Gay for Jude.
Listen. He's a humble guy in Oregon. He doesn't tell you about all the great massages he gives out to people all across the country that come and flock to him. Charlie Sheen invented winning the expression after a rewind massage.
I'll figure say about him, but yeah.
But
Yeah,
just
Barry Horowitz got to win after finally.
Rewind, I'm going to give you some advice, man. After you touch Charlie Sheen, just remember to wash your hands, okay?
Wash it for about a minute or two, hot water.
Yeah.
I think I've seen the stuff that Rewind does on a Dateline episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris Hansen.
All right, rewind. Let's get back to it a little bit. Razor Ramon, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Scott Hall is like the first memory I had. I didn't know who Razor Ramon was at
We
all.
divulge fast.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. That's my first moment. And then like Hogan turned heel, me just like ugly crying. My mom put me to sleep. So you can't watch wrestling, get too emotional. Just crying. Dude. I'm like
Rewind.
6. Dude, when I was a kid, we went to get a haircut. My mom's like, you can get any haircut you want. I'm like, I want a Hulk Hogan. She's like, you can't.
Oh,
Oh, my
no.
God.
Oh wow.
You got the cul-de-sac mullet?
Nice.
She's like, you can get any haircut, Jason, except the
That
Hulk
is so
Hogan.
badass.
She wouldn't let me get it. I was so mad.
I was hoping you were going to lie to us and say you got it.
It literally is. It's the cul-de-sac mullet from the
That's
top
awesome.
of his head. Could you imagine a little
goes
like
around.
10-year-old rewind going to school with the cul-de-sac mullet?
I'm a
My
real
Hogan shirt
American.
on.
Oh, my God.
Look like a mini Joe Dirt.
Seriously. Jesus.
Oh, Lord.
It's still real to me, guys. It's still real to
Scott
me.
Hall.
God, Hall.
So back to Scott Hall.
Yeah.
I think we killed this one off already tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. Just that's my first memory. And then like 6 months later, I found out about Raw, and I had to be at bed at like 8:39. So I taped it on my VCR, and then when I woke up, I'd watch it as I'm getting ready for school. Came home, watched it. Very similar to everyone else's here. Then I figured out about ECW about 2 years later. I found out about the GOAT, the man who changed wrestling forever. That we all agree on.
Yep.
And then
I can see your
I watched
goosebumps
wrestling until I was
feeling
like
right now.
11, 12, found skateboarding girls, fell back into it around the late 2000. TNA, Sting coming back, all that. Watch it for a year, disappeared for a while, and just came back now.
Rewind got a Taz cut in high school. He had the original Tasmaniac do with the Jerry curls, and the
Right.
Jerry curl
Oh,
mullet
yeah.
that he
Ooh.
He was picking up the babes in school, rocking around with that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
The $1 million question from your fans, though, Rewind, is
What's up?
what was that exact moment of Taz? This is the question the viewers have been wanting to hear forever. What was that moment from the GOAT, from Taz, the king of the FTW? What did he do to make you the Taz Maniac's
Camera
biggest fan?
Sutra.
Yeah.
Good try, Richie. Good try.
I'm trying, man.
Heatwave 98, when he DDP Bam Bam Bigelow through the walkway, the ramp. And then, like,
Boom.
Living Dangerously the year before, they went through the ring. Because my mom said if I was good in school all year round, I could order one pay-per-view. Because back in the day, I had a friend named Trevor Woods. He was missing an arm with little fingers. And his grandparents had a black box.
He's
So
the
he's
only
already
one that
house
could do the
pay-per-view.
Taz mission better than Taz. Jesus.
Literally, he had a little arm and had little fingers, and the fingers had fingernails on them.
How
And
you
his
gonna put
grandparents-
handcuffs on a guy like that, bro?
Zip ties. He got arrested before zip ties. But his grandparents had a black box, so I'd go over to his house and watch all the pay-per-views. And
You broke Richie. You broke.
these are all true stories too.
You broke Richie right here for the first time ever, man.
Yeah, the first.
Oh man.
How did these actions lead this way in my life?
These are literally like Trevor Woods. Look him up. He's probably in jail now, but like.
Oh my god!
last time I heard
For
about him,
armed robbery.
Oh, stop. Stop.
so last time I saw
I just
Trevor
stole
Woods,
my phone, you asshole!
Holy fuck!
Oh shit!
Last time I saw him, I was 14. I sold my PS2 for a bag of weed. And my buddy saw him in Portland, like in 2010, 2011. He saw him in the Fremont Bridge. And he ran up and put his little gimp arm around his face.
Oh my god!
Fucking dying, man. You
Oh
broke
my
me.
god!
You got me laughing so hard. I'm crying right now. The
You're
one
in the Hall
armed
of
guy
Fame
got
if
me.
you ever
Man.
have
I'm
one,
sorry.
dude. Oh my god!
Oh man!
Somebody's
You
out there.
got busted for armed robbery. Who the fuck said that? You're going to hell, dude.
Well, gasoline drawers on.
What did he really? He probably get arrested.
Oh my god!
Rewind. Will you be my best friend?
Seriously. Jude,
I
you
live
gotta,
a really-
you gotta join our group chat, Jude. You gotta-
Yeah,
I
please
live
add
a-
me to this stuff, man.
Dude, I just gotta warn you though, it goes on all day. So you might have to silence your notifications sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh my god!
We're doing it all hours, at all points in time randomly on the
Oh
things.
God, it's so
I've never laughed this hard on a show in my
Oh,
life
dude.
as what you just broke me on Rewind.
But to be like, I live like a really boring life. 95% of my life is super
No, you fucking don't. Don't even fucking
I
say
want to
that.
live
You
your
do
boring
not.
life.
So,
Right.
so my next week punishment story is about my. This has nothing to do with me. I'm gonna give a little hint. It's about my ex-girlfriend who was a sex worker. I'm about one of her clients.
Oh shit! What the fuck? Are you involved in the Diddy
So Scott
scandal
Hall.
too?
Jesus
Jesus Christ!
It has something for gun lovers. It has something for grandma boys. It has something for everyone. So,
Grandma boys.
Wait, hold on. It has something for gun lovers?
Yeah. You got our attention. Man.
Next Tuesday can't come soon enough.
Seriously.
You're the gift that keeps on giving, like herpes on somebody's lip.
dude,
Right.
it's been a month. I got nothing, man.
Is it the cat scratch fever?
It was on the bottom, but yeah, it was nothing.
You know what the funny thing is? I don't think people realize he's really like this
Dude.
behind closed doors when you get a chance to know.
Hold on. If you go and listen to our episode, man, like he'll tell you what he got his inspiration of spanking people with, and it's fucking funny as hell. Can you tell him again, please? Like it's
So I was never spanked as a kid. Like I grew up in a really nice home. I probably should have been, but I never was. There's
That's
two
the
things.
problem.
Two things. One, I saw Dazed and Confused too young. Another one was when Hogan stripped Piper in the middle of the ring and whipped him with the belt. Scared the crap out of me, dude. I think it crossed some wires or something, man.
Rewind got a fetish because of the Yappa Pie strap match.
Then they tagged him NWO on his back. You guys remember
Oh,
that?
God.
Nitro like 96.
Have you ever
97?
tagged one of these fat life women on their back with your NWO sign?
We need to come up with a logo
Maybe.
for Rewind.
He's
That's
gonna
a
do it
branding iron.
WWR.
WWR.
You need to write a book, bro.
Dude, I know people who have so much more exciting stories than me, dude. You have no idea.
Rewind
Who?
big fetish. Is
Oh,
Rewind
God.
the new P. Diddy?
No, I believe in consent.
Jesus.
I can't breathe.
But yeah, Trevor Woods, yeah, he had a black box. So we would go to his grandparents' house, and that summer we ordered ECW Heatwave 98, and then I saw Taz, and the GOAT blew up, dude. Like he was like the man. He still is the man.
I still say it's one of the most emotional moments in pro wrestling history was last
Thanks,
week on
Sean.
Dynamite. That
Yeah.
FTW. What a
Changed the world.
what an emotional moment that was.
Oh,
Changed the
God.
world.
Yeah,
You know about it too.
he does. He's a fan.
Awesome.
Big time.
That's the look, dude. That's the look.
He's a fan. No doubt
Yeah.
about that. He's a fan. Big time. He's at a loss for words right now.
That's the
No, I have the words. It is so many.
I'm gonna do what you like.
Jesus. All right, fellas. Well, we're gonna have to close down tonight. We went a little over 2 hours tonight. We could go on forever because you guys
Oh,
are that
yeah.
much fun. Like I could literally, if I didn't have to work
Us
at
with
6 a.m.
alcohol and a wrestling event would be
Is it-
hilarious.
Bro, we gotta like have somebody with
Yeah.
fucking bail money then. Okay,
We're gonna have to bring my wife.
Yeah, mine
please.
too.
Your wife is a lawyer; she can get us out.
Right.
Okay, there we go. We have a backup. At
Mine's
least.
got the
She's
credit
really
card.
good. You said
Yeah,
too,
okay.
right, Jude?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we can do all sorts of damage.
I've talked our way out of tickets before. We'll be good guys.
Oh my god.
Rewind's everybody's favorite gift. If he gets out to New York, the ladies, man, they're gonna love you. Just wear that Barry Horowitz shirt, please.
Yeah, you have
Rewind.
Yeah.
Rewind. You have a friend with just one arm. Do you have one with just one leg? We could run faster than he can. They'll
So,
arrest him
story.
first.
Absolutely.
True story.
We'll throw a
So I
stick
used to
and
live
he'll fall over.
I used to live in a single room occupancy. It was an old person's home that converted into like single room occupancy. And there was a guy in there who was missing an eye, missing a foot, and missing a leg. Corkscrew in 83, diabetes.
Wow.
Spokesperson for Liberty Medical.
Liberty. Rewind. I got one last question for you, and
What's
then I promise we'll get off. We've seen that Barry Horowitz shirt. After you get done on one of these punishment bowl segments, do you give yourself the Barry Horowitz pat on the back after?
I should. I don't. I'm pretty humble. I don't like, bragging. So, but yeah.
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 Has a female ever given you the Barry Horowitz pat on the back?
In other ways.
Yeah.
The one gave him snacks.
Yep.
Come on.
One of them threw a coffee at his head.
Yeah. True. Very
That
true.
coffee story will always get me.
Because I was man explaining porn to her. That's why.
Jesus Christ.
I can't wait to hear the stories about the sex worker.
Oh, great.
I can't wait to hear this one next week. That's the one I'm looking forward to the most. That's the one.
Gonna leverage grandma's boys are gonna love this one.
I can't wait, man. All right, guys. Rewind, Jeremy. Thanks a bunch, guys. Laza, Sean, everybody that's been watching all night or checking it out. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna cut out the backstage for now. So we'll see you guys later on. Jeremy and Rewind will talk to you guys later. Thanks, boys.
Thanks for having me on,
Pleasure,
guys.
as always,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks, Rewind.
Man, what a great group of guys. What a great show it was, man, tonight. Jude, you picked just a phenomenal topic in the discussion tonight. Man, it could have gone on for a long time. Jude, actually, before I turn to Jude, Richie, what are your closing thoughts for tonight, man?
Thank you so much, Jude, for stopping by, hanging out with us, man. It's been a pleasure as always having
Absolutely.
you on. We love having you on each week, dude. And you're a wealth of knowledge and a great human being, man. And we just love you a lot. And this has been a great group. You guys are awesome, dude. I never laughed so hard in my life. And I truly laugh. So, when you have a stressful work week and stuff like that, and you come on the show, I feel like it's a breath of fresh air to take on the rest of the week. So I thank you all each and every week for this, man. And we'll see you down the road as always.
No doubt about it. Jude, great topic. Jeremy says, everybody, Raza, been a pleasure. Everybody, Sean, closing thoughts. NXT sucked. I love that. I love that right there. Jude, thank you again. Once again, I want to reiterate what Richie said. You're an awesome dude, a good friend that we're proud to call a friend now. And we really appreciate the topic. And, you're always welcome to come on, as is everybody. So we'd love to have you on. And, it's just been a pleasure, man. And everybody, we thank you all too. It's just always so much fun with you guys each week. As Richie mentioned, life can get so stressful for all of us. And, we do this for fun every week and just to kick back and relax with everybody. So tell friends, share it out to everybody, please. And thank you. And keep spreading the word about what we're trying to do over here and what we are doing. So Jude, you're the closer tonight. Tell us any final thoughts, anything you got, and you're taking us out tonight.
Just appreciate the time to come out and talk about this. I look forward to this every week. It's memories like this, that make it what it is. And I appreciate you guys. Hopefully we can do it again. And thank you. I appreciate you guys. I really do. I'm glad I found you guys. I found you guys on Facebook, and been watching ever since. And I just appreciate what you guys do and what you guys put together for the community like this. And like I said, I enjoy it, and hopefully we can do it again.
Absolutely, man. Next week, get your trivia caps on, folks, because next week's topic, 80s and 90s WCW trivia. That will be the topic next week, guys. So study on up 80s, 90s, WCW, even up to the end. So 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s. If you want to talk WCW, that's what we're doing next week. Trivia contest here. Maybe we'll throw a little prize in. We'll see what we can do. But for Richie, I'm John. And, of course, for our guest host tonight, Jude, we are out of here. We'll see you guys soon. Check back again later this week. Keep your notifications on. We'll probably do an impromptu show. But if we don't, we'll see you next Tuesday. So have a great night, everybody. And thank you for listening to Wrestling with React.